just mic'd up with Mikie Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got J. Mitch. We got Jackie Boy.
He tried to jump up, and he might have knocked it in.
Good timing. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys will come in and say,
oh, God. So me and Joe on the ground. I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there. He's punching me in the stomach. Like, punching me.
Here, is everyone sitting around? Who here thinks Chico can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad's doing the team 6 minutes. For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Chico can practice today. And I was like, I look back and I'm like, Jesus Christ. I saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
On the spirit plane had some issues, I think. She was sleep farting.
you heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her and I smelled it.
Whoa. What was that?
Time for
Good
the
show.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you going to bring your chinchilla and your turtle? My dad tell you about it?
The SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like, they should
Players. Look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now.
Hello. Welcome back to Mik'd Up. Today is Monday, July 29th. We are creeping ever so closely to August 1st.
Football.
Which means football is so close.
Ugh.
I mean, I think we're less than a month away. I believe we are less than a month away from the start of college football season. NFL starts this weekend, or this week at some point, with the Hall of Fame game. They, if you're not familiar with the Hall of Fame game, it's the first preseason game every year. It's inducting into the new class of Hall of Famers. And then there is a preseason football game that is mostly played with just rookies and young guys trying to make the team, backups, guys. Everybody,
The young freshmen.
yeah, freshmen. The young go-hards. That's who's in that game. Still fun because it kind of gives everybody
It's football, dude.
that renewed sense of, oh shit, it's almost here type thing. But we're getting closer. It's July 29th. The Olympics are well underway. Opening ceremonies were last Friday.
Whoa.
Obviously, we touched a little bit on that. Interesting tactic by the Olympic Committee. I guess it would be Paris. Doing the things that they did. I think that, let's focus on the sports side of it. Let's make things more, hey, let's highlight our athletes instead of something else. We're not going to get too into that because that is a no-win situation right there. But the Olympics itself has been unbelievable. If you just watch the competition side of it, obviously LSU's got 31 Olympic athletes from LSU, or there's 31 Olympic athletes from LSU in the Olympics right now. Nuss and Cloth. Is it Cloth?
I believe
The
so.
beach volleyball. They are beach
Impressive.
volleyball alum from LSU. They are 2-0 in the Olympics.
Karen Cloth and Kristen Nuss.
There you go. Cloth and Nuss.
Smoked the Canadian team the other night.
Smoked them. They won again today.
There you go.
They're 2-0. They are put themselves in a position. A lot of hype behind them and what they're doing. Pretty fun to watch if you haven't watched them play. It's very entertaining. They are, I don't want to say they're underdogs because they're not. They're really good at what they do. Kristen Nuss is, how long is she? I mean, how tall is she? 6'4"? No.
6'4", and 5'5".
Yeah, 6'4" and 5'5". 5'5", if you're not familiar with 5'5", that's very short for a beach volleyball player.
At this level.
At this level.
Yeah.
And she is
Don't
defying
let
the
them
odds.
tell you can't do anything.
That's
She was
basically-
also
that's
but she was
basically her
also a
motivation.
3-sport star in high school
Yep.
too. So I mean, it kind of
Stud.
that competitiveness kind of shows them a little bit.
Athlete said that before they even were attempting to make the Olympics, said that they were going to be in the Olympics and win the gold medal. This is before they even started the process of making it to the Olympics. They're there. They're 2-0. It's been fun to watch. A lot of other sports have been very entertaining to watch. We're going to get into that. This is the time where these sports that you're not very sure about, this is where it's their time to shine.
Ping
Right?
pong.
No, table tennis. It's not
Table
ping pong.
tennis.
It's table tennis. Wild. Water polo. Wild. Field hockey.
Bro,
Wild.
you just got to think of it this way:
Handball.
whatever
Wild.
you would not watch on a daily basis, if it doesn't even matter
Yeah.
if it's the top league, you now get to see the absolute best do it.
It's crazy.
So you might as well just it's literally the best at these competitions, like going
Mountain
at it
bike
now.
racing.
Yeah.
Wild. First time ever American has placed won the silver medal. Saw that this weekend. That was pretty cool. Basketball. They beat Serbia this past weekend.
LeBron is doing it.
LeBron and KD.
Yeah.
KD.
What,
KD
8 for
fresh
8?
off the bench, fresh
8
off
of
the
9.
cat.
I think 8 of 9 for the game. 8 of 8. He was 8 of 8 to start.
For sure, yeah.
And they go ahead and beat Serbia, which is the Joker. And, they do the things that they need to do. Everybody, again, I'm going to announce this. Everybody's like, the men's basketball team should win the way the women's national team wins. False. The international game of basketball has grown to a level that is pretty impressive.
But how much has it grown? Like in the sense of because I did see the stat the other day, and people still don't realize this. The Dream Team, the original Dream Team, when they went to the Olympics and played, there was 9 other NBA players on other teams across the world.
And what is it now?
Today it's over 60.
Over 60.
I think 63 is the number.
3 of the top 5 picks of the last 2 drafts are from France, right? One of they call him the alien.
See the shoes?
I mean, has the alien on him, doesn't it?
They're wild.
Yeah, it's Victor Wembanyama. Like, he is 7'4" and
Yeah, he's an alien.
he's an alien, right? Like, he's like, so the international game has grown. Basketball is spreading its wings around the world, which is what they want to do. They are very well represented. USA basketball team has been very supportive of all the other American sports, which has been really cool, and it's kind of bringing up the hype of NBA basketball. So Olympics have been fun to watch. We're going to talk about that, talk about what we liked about what sport we like. We're watching Nadal play Djokovic in a tennis match right now on TV. I mean, this is
Brought to you by MeshStreams.com.
nope.
No.
YouTube TV. That's what it's brought to you by. We're going to get into all that. What else is playing? Olympics is on, obviously. Major League Baseball. They are right in the middle of their trade deadline. Trade deadline is tomorrow, I think, at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Getting close.
A couple guys that aren't going to get traded. Alex Bregman playing for the Astros. And Paul Skeens playing for the Pirates. They play tonight in Houston. Paul Skeens on the mound. First time ever in their career they're going to face each other. 2 LSU legends. 2 guys who have made their name early on in their careers in Major League Baseball. And it should be fun to watch. We're going to kind of update you as we go. Obviously can't show it, but we will talk about that throughout the course of the show once it starts. We have a special guest tonight at 7:15. Sharief Ishaq live from California. I forget the city that they're in. Irvine, California.
Irvine.
That's
Irvine.
right. Irvine, California.
Irving, Texas. Irvine, California.
Irving, Texas. That's right. Irving, Texas, home of Simone Biles.
Oh, really?
Pretty sure I saw that yesterday whenever I watched the gymnastics.
You've been consuming this
I've
Olympics.
been consuming the Olympics. Like
You're
I
doing
think
your-
it's Simone Biles is put on a really good show with a kind of a tweaked calf yesterday. She gutted it out. Impressive to watch them do the things that they do. But
4x1.
Sharief Ishaq, awesome. Set the record.
That gets my blood pumping.
The best swimming. Did you see the 31-year-old American swimmer? It was the first time he's ever medaled. It was his last Olympics, the first time he's ever medaled. He missed winning a gold by like 0.02 tenths of a second. He tied for second. It was like an unbelievable race. Fink, I think is his last name. Wow. Swimming's awesome. Gymnastics is awesome. Track and field's awesome. Look, I'm all in the Olympics. I think it's really cool. It's been really fun to watch. Highest level of athletes in the world for their country competing against each other. So pretty cool. But Sharief Ishaq, not in the Olympics. Football, tackle football, not in the Olympics. But tackle football is about to start.
34 days away.
Training
for
camp
LSU.
has started. Sharief is there in Irvine, California with the Saints. Beginning training camp, he's going to have all of the updates as to who's playing well, what competitions we need to keep an eye on, how's the offense progressing with a new offensive coordinator. All those questions we're going to ask him in the 7 o'clock hour. Staying in the NFL world, the receiver market is on crack cocaine.
I mean, it's become the second highest paid position in the game right now.
Well, everybody wants it,
it's
right?
crazy.
Everybody wants to get paid. Jamar Chase, I want to get paid. He's got a couple years left on his deal, or is it 2 years left, right?
Yeah.
So he's asking for a new contract. CeeDee Lamb's obviously asking for a new contract. The quarterback position has been getting paid. Tua just got paid $212 million deal. I'd imagine you're going to start seeing Jordan Love just got paid. A lot of quarterbacks are getting paid a lot of money because of potential, because of, hey, you've done well so far early on. It's the most important position in on the field, and it's paid that way. And it's I don't want to call it a desperate position, but if you show any signs of,
No, it's a desperate position.
hey, this guy may be really good in the future, we're going to give him a bunch of money and see what happens. If it doesn't work, we're going to try again.
Much like the starting pitcher in baseball, it is 100% a desperate position. If you can figure that spot out, it cleans up a lot of what you got going on, and if you can shore that up, you can kind of piece it together around it. So, like, finding starting pitching, finding a starting legit quarterback, it's as desperate as it gets, 100%.
Going through the last little bit of the Heineken headlines, LSU football reports to school on Wednesday. Nuss and Kyron Lacey are on the preseason Maxwell Award list. So football is here. Like it is. It's going to start consuming your TV screen. NFL Live is going to be on there. You're going to have college football live. You're going to have a lot of pundits out there talking. A lot of lists have been happening. The lists are going to start to dwindle, and they're not going to be as many conversations because once August hits, it is, hey, let's start going. Who's playing well? Who's not playing well? Stuff that's happened. Georgia keeps getting guys just, they probably should just take the keys from all of their players.
Well, now they're flying.
And now they're flying. We got.
It couldn't have been a funnier announcement where it's like, oh, good Lord. Let's get them in. They're going to take you by land, sea, and now air.
Crazy.
Georgia football.
They're grinders. They're going to bow their way through it.
Road graders.
They're going to bow their way through it. Last little thing. I'm sorry I forgot to mention this on the LSU baseball side. Hunter Fiducia, catcher from LSU, makes his major league debut for the Dodgers, gets called up. Congratulations to him. It is a great accomplishment. He's grinding his way. 2018, he was at LSU, or he got drafted in 2018, and it is 2024. He has made his debut. So congratulations to him. I think he's been on the doorstep for the last couple years. He's finally getting his opportunity. So excited to watch him and see him fulfill a lifelong dream, I would imagine. Lloyd,
yes.
The Bayou Splash was supposed to be a splash, and it was pretty splashy in other ways because it was
a smudge of rain.
Right?
Smudge.
But that doesn't stop the recruits from flying in or being here and being part of the festivities. How was the reports from the Bayou Splash?
Not as big of a splash as there has been previous years, but LSU obviously had a lot in the boat already, as you have obviously Bryce Underwood, huge get, and it still doesn't feel real as you have the number 1 quarterback in the country committed to LSU for almost a year now. Well, I mean, I've followed recruiting a good part of my life, and usually the other shoe drops at some point.
I mean,
but
somebody's got to get him. I mean,
it feels real right now. He's from Belleville, Michigan. It's not somebody that you would. It's not the Ryan Perlew story where he's at St. John's. You're like, okay, that makes sense.
But then you also had the Jamarcus and Matt Flynn years before it.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, that's Alabama and Texas.
I get what you're saying.
We've landed some big ones. It hasn't been landing. It's been the other part.
And then you have one in Russell Shepard that never played quarterback, but was the number 1 rated dual threat quarterback in the country. Didn't get to throw a pass.
I think he threw a pass.
He never did.
He didn't throw one pass.
Not one. Maybe in practice.
You sure? Just like Perlew. What was your argument with Perlew that you said to him? And Jared was like, "I'll play the game. Like I watched him do it." And you're trying to argue with Jared. Do you remember that conversation?
Oh, he said he never played a full series on the field.
Yeah, I would never say that. He started against Middle Tennessee State and he started against Tennessee. I know that.
So then what was the question?
I don't know.
You said
that's up to y'all to remember.
You were.
I sound like I'm right so far.
No,
you were dying.
How many people?
No, you didn't.
LSU was so blessed to have such a backup like Ryan Perlew to where you can start the SEC championship and nobody was sweating. And that's what you'll have with Bryce Underwood. It depends on what Garrett Nussmeier does, as we've seen in the NFL draft preview, where it seems like it's a quarterback not heavy draft. They're looking for somebody to play the sport and play the position. And as you said, if you don't have one, you need to get one. If Nussmeier is able to show out and throw for over 30 touchdowns and fewer than 12 interceptions, you might get the Bryce Underwood experience very soon. If not, you have a very interesting conversation for LSU football. As, after, like I said, Bayou Splash, Harlan Berry, he was there. Bryce Underwood not there. Unfortunate situation with a former teammate that passed away, so he wasn't able to make it down. But other than that, you had one guy pop on a commitment level. But like I said, LSU's class is already – you have 17 already pledged, 15 are blue-chip prospects, 12 4-stars, and then the 2 5-stars in Underwood and Harlan Berry. And then you sign or get a commit from an offensive lineman. So not as – much of what it has been in the past where it's like, oh, my God, news is coming. But still, overall, a good day for the Tigers.
Great day.
Now it's on this Jonah Williams watch.
Yeah,
Texas
so he is Texas is reaching into their bag of tricks or bag of money, however you want to.
As they should be.
As they should be, 100%.
Like, I mean, Lloyd always talks about building a wall around the state, so they should be doing that. So
yeah. I mean, this is, about 5 years ago,
I know we're getting political.
Digging into that bag of money. Digging into that bag of money was illegal, and like obviously people were doing it, but it was kind of unspoken. Now it's very much legal and spoken about, and so Texas has been pretty active in that regard, and so I don't fault them. I mean, that's a smart thing to do. You have a dual sport athlete who is a 5-star in football and potential draft pick in baseball, and he wants to do both. And Texas is a very, they're obviously a hot football name right now. They've historically, and I don't want to ever say they're back because that every time we say they're back, they're not back. But traditionally, they've been very good.
So they're back,
and it seems like they are back to what they used to be,
what they want to be.
Yes, and baseball is not back. Baseball, they're trying to bring it back, and he would be a big piece on that. So they should be in there, but
a big free piece. That's what he would be on the baseball side.
Free piece.
Yeah. You're not gonna have to use one of those scholarships.
Not gonna have to use one of the 34, but count against the 34 on the team.
You will have to use some of that free agent money, but you won't have to.
No doubt.
Coming from somewhere.
Staying on the football side, obviously we talked a little bit of recruiting, but football, the conversations are starting to ramp up. And, there's been a bunch of questions like,
nice.
Oh,
I don't even know what that was.
That's worse than a ball.
That's just
Bro, what happened? What's going on?
That one's worse than a ball right there.
I left the laptop at home, so it's been a while since I've had to just kind of go into this thing.
It's okay. All right.
Mikey feels so good about that. He's look at him. He's ill prepared.
I technically didn't drop it. I just pushed it over because there was no weight in it, so it's a little bit different. He already dropped the ball in case people didn't already know.
Well, they didn't start.
It'll happen again.
It was pregame.
Pregame.
It was pregame. It doesn't count. That's what pregame's for.
Yeah. Get
all out. 5 questions that people have, I guess, posed. There's probably more than 5, but I think the big 5 are kind of.
Matthew Bruni posed the question on 3 where he went over kind of like the 5 questions for LSU's defense, which is going to be a talking point until you see it in, 34 days against USC in Las Vegas. So that's why, while we're still kicking the tires on not seeing them play yet or even seeing them practice, I believe it opens up Wednesday. Media will be there Thursday, and so you'll finally get eyes on the athletes. But until then, it's still talking season.
Yep. And so the first question that was posed in this article was, how much will freshmen contribute to the team this year? Obviously, you saw freshmen last year contribute. Every year, freshmen are a part of, championship teams. Every year, freshmen are supposed to step up and, kind of make their mark. Who do we think is going to be? Whit Weeks played last year. Ashton Stamps played last year. Cornerback and defensive lineman would be the 2 positions that you would imagine you're going to see some of the young guys play because of need. I think mostly on the defensive line because they're going to try to rotate in and out. Who do y'all think?
I have an early pick for this, but obviously, and I think you could throw almost Whit Weeks into this conversation because of what happened last year where he gets his first start against Mississippi State and is the leading tackler on the team, doesn't start again, and then I believe it was 2 weeks later starts and is the leading tackler on the team again. And he admitted it himself where he's like, I didn't know what I was doing, but I wanted to play. And then you saw the talent kind of seep into, like, LSU needs a guy like that because they had no clue what they were doing defensively. But because of the defensive line and where they stand right now with not getting Mekhi Wingo back, not getting Mason Smith back, which it felt like they were going to.
You think?
And then they made a huge push to get Don McKinley and Gabe Relaford in the signing class. I think Gabe Relaford is going to be a stud. And also, redshirt freshman.
Why is that? Because you saw him on the spring game play really well? Is that why, or you have a gut?
I think he's
I'm just asking.
No, he's got I think he's college ready. Like he can translate to be able to make an impact now.
Okay, but why? My question is why? What makes you think that? I'm not disagreeing. I just, he's college ready, but what makes him college ready would be my question.
He was a 5-star defensive tackle, defensive end that went to Evangel and played a ton, and it's somebody that you had to got him late, but I think he's going to have to play.
Yep.
You swung and missed in the portal to a degree for what you wanted defensive tackle-wise. You brought in 2, but it wasn't the high-profile players that were in the portal. But I think Gabe Relaford is ready now. Like, he's going to be able to make an impact because he's, first of all, will have to play, and then I think he'll be more so of an impact player than McKinley.
Yeah,
at this point.
When I look at the list of the freshmen, the incoming freshmen or guys that are here this year, that's the name that really speaks out to me, and it's not just because of there's a couple things that go into it. One, you have the position itself, being defensive end, especially being somebody that can rush the passer. You're always going to be needing fresh bodies in that spot, right? So I think I think the transition from high school to college ball at that spot is when we're asking you pretty much just to rush the passer, I think that's the smallest bit of transition. If you think back and go all the way back to Perkins, right, his freshman year, he's under 220 pounds, being able to rush the passer the way he did, it's an easier transition when we get you in there to be able to get you in there in that spot. I do think at the defensive tackle spot it's tougher. It's a lot more technique stuff. There's a lot more grown men strength. There's a lot more going on in the sense of you're so used to overpowering guys at that level, at that spot in high school, that you're used to making the plays. And there's a lot more, you're not going to make a ton of plays, if you will, right? Like there's even the best defensive tackles, they're not felt that much in the stat sheet.
They're supposed to suck it up so the defensive linebackers can make the
exactly. You're the black hole, basically, right? Yeah. So, I think that position is a little tougher to make the transition in. I think when I look at it from the standpoint of who they have in right now and from where this team is, Gabriel Relaford is the name that really sticks out to me because of what he can do and because of what their need is and how much they're going to have to cycle guys in and out of that position.
I like everybody that you have said. Obviously, I think they're all going to get some time, but I'm going to go off. We got. Oh, that's why it felt because your phone's popped up. I got you.
Okay, that's
okay.
I mean, come on, I'm not even fumbled door over.
Well, I didn't know what was going on over there, but now I see it. Yeah. Okay. That's an excuse. I can tolerate that.
Kangaroo court.
I'm going to go in the secondary, right? I'm going to go in the cornerback position. I think you're going to have some veteran guys start. Obviously, guys who have been there and have been around. But if you look at Corey Raymond's historically, Corey Raymond coaches these guys up really well. Not just recruits them, but coaches them up really well once he gets them on campus. And you see freshmen get some valuable time, maybe by the end of the year being counted on as that guy in the secondary. So I see some of these freshmen that you had come in. I think P.J. Woodland was the other one, and your boy who you love the most.
Bernard Causey.
Like, I know he didn't come in as that most highly touted guy, but we've seen before the most highly touted guy coming in doesn't always become the best guy. The guys you want to be there that has a dog in him, that has, hey, I'm going to compete with you, and it doesn't matter how much better you think you are than me, I'm going to stop you. Those guys play. He feels like he's got that personality. So I can see one of those two guys becoming a fixture in the secondary, defensive secondary.
Yeah, give me the guy that can find Rashard Robinson and put him at corner when he's a 3-star, but he's 6'2" and built like a Corey Raymond corner. These guys, like J. Mitch has said, and it is right, that they are light. And you'll have to see what kind of goes on through spring and fall. And then you're 30 days away. If you're 167 pounds, hopefully when you update it, it's 180 pounds. But at that weight, it's going to...
Hopefully it's about 190 pounds.
Yeah, well, Moffitt's at A&M. So we'll see. But those are things that are a concern whenever you just look at, like, strictly just the numbers of it, where you're like, that's light. But skill-wise, good.
Yeah, man, like if I'm thinking about it, like if you're 160, 165 pounds, if I'm literally just looking at a roster sheet and that's what it says.
It popped out to you.
Yeah, like if I'm looking at it from I'm game planning against you, and I know that this person who it says is 160 or 165 pounds is on the field a bunch. I want to pull up film and I want to see what is it that he does and why is he on the field so much, because that's someone I want to continue to. I mean, remember, dude, this is a physical game and there's a lot of pounding that goes on. So if he's on the field, he can't help himself, dude. It's unbelievable. If he's on the field, like I'm thinking to myself, how much can he take? Like, how many times can we run into him? How many times is he going to get back up? How willing is he to stick his neck in there? So that's somebody that I will go for. And if I'm on the other side, if I'm coaching that guy and that's what he actually is, I'm thinking, all right, how much can we use him? How little can we use him? How can we, I won't say hide him, but not put him in the situations to where that becomes an issue, because it is an issue.
Well, that's the other conversation too, is you talk about how physical the game is. Corey Raymond loves physical corners. He loves to play press man, and hey, we're going to put you on there and you're going to be really good and you're going to stop them and you're going to be aggressive. Like, that also goes into it, right? If you're not
– a couple island boys.
Exactly, and if you're not physically strong enough to be able to withstand that, because, dude, these receivers now are enormous, right? Like, they're not just like, hey, we're going to go and be crafty and just beat you off the ball with our routes. Sometimes they're going to run right through you. And so if you're not able to hold up on that, are you going to be able to play there down after down after down? Who knows? But that's going to be another.
Yeah, I also don't think too, like when it comes to Corey's style of coaching and Blake's style of coaching and what they've done in the past. Listen, a lot of that's going to be predicated on what they're able to do up front, what kind of pressure they're able to get up front. Because look, I don't care if you got all 5 stars and all this. Nobody's shadowing anyone for 5 to 6 seconds, right? If they got all kind of time, sooner or later they're going to get open. And I don't care how good your defender is. So with that being said, is a lot of what they're going to be able to do on the back end is going to be predicated by how good they are on first down, how good they are at getting you a 3rd and long, how good they are at rushing the passer, how well they can play up front to kind of put them in those situations where it's more predictable pass downs, if you will. And I think that's going to have a lot to do with what they're able to do on the back end this year.
Most of these questions are going to revolve around the defensive side, like Lloyd said, because that is the biggest unknown, right? Not saying they're not talented, not saying that the coaches aren't good. It's just, hey, it's it is a whole new coaching staff on the defensive side of the ball. So we don't really know how that's going to react. Another question is, if you remember, not only did LSU give up a ton of 3rd downs in the
50%.
Passing game, right? Yeah, not great.
That's terrible.
But
almost impossible.
They got gashed a lot on the ground, right? And that's in part due to having not a lot of depth in the defensive line, not being able to rotate these guys in, them kind of getting blown off the ball. Linebackers already kind of a step back, and now you have the offensive lineman not only blowing the defensive lineman off the ball, but getting to the second level and start getting the hands on the linebackers, which leaves the safeties to be the last man standing. And if you want your safeties making tackles against running backs all the time, that's not a great look. But you still need them to tackle, and that is a question. are the safeties going to be more, the word is, are the safeties
better position?
Not necessarily a better position, but willing to be able to go out there and stop the run when needed, because that is obviously part of
The most
defensive
interesting
scheme.
part
Good
of
defenses.
that question is because of the Toviano situation,
Right.
which is still in the wind and not what LSU needed at the moment. And
Yeah,
you
what's
still,
that? Have we heard anything about
No,
that? No.
but it'll let due process play out.
I'm not going to comment until
Me-
the investigation is completed.
That's right.
That's, I'm
It's
sure that is
ongoing
what-
investigation.
That is what they're saying, I imagine.
And
I
then
don't
you
know.
have Zach Alexander coming off an ACL, and you don't know how he's going to respond to that. Some people bounce back, some people don't. But that's what leads me to, is this another situation for Sage Ryan where he has to move positions again, where you need him either in the nickel or at a corner spot whenever he's been here for, I think this is his 5th year, feels like it, and he
I don't
still
think
has
it's
yet
his
to
5th
play the
year.
same position
I think
back-to-back years.
I think that they, with that experiment, I think they're going to have him at safety. I really do. I think that you have enough in the secondary, because if you remember, Toviano really came in as a safety, not a cornerback, right? And so I
But
think
it speaks to the lack of depth at the position.
that's my point, though. So I think ultimately you've brought in some other guys, right, that you can play on the outside. So I think you're going to give them that shot, and you're going to say, okay, Sage, you go play safety. You came in, you're an athlete. You're supposed to be really good. You've shown flashes. Go out there and play one position. We're not going to screw you up, and go out there and play ball.
Yeah, I also think too
he
for me,
did flirt with the portal.
flirted with it.
I think for me too, when you have a lack of depth at the cornerback position, if y'all can stay with me when I say this, I think it's one of those situations where, well, if I don't have depth, like think about basketball. If I ask you to play man-to-man defense all game up and down the court, that shit's tiring.
Tiring.
Right? So if I'm thinking about playing a lot of man-to-man, in-your-face type of bump and run coverage and all that stuff, that's tiring. But if I don't have the quote-unquote upper echelon of talent, it makes it harder to do that. So
Yeah.
when I don't have as much talent and I don't have the upper echelon of talent, well, I'm probably going to gear myself more to some zone situation. That way I don't give these guys as much exposure in those situations. So I don't think we're going to be looking, when it comes to this defense, I don't think you're going to be seeing them run 5 different cornerbacks out there that you don't know outside of, injury or something like that happening. I think that that's a position that they're going to stick with the very few number of guys that they have there. You're going to see probably a lot of the snaps taken by the same number of guys, and you're going to watch them filter guys in on that front level of the defense, and probably at the safety, at that star position, guys that can run fit a little bit better on running downs and stuff like that to kind of make that thing kind of work for them.
Well, and what's the best? What's a secondary's best friend is a good pass rush, right? Defensive line. So if you're playing that bump run coverage, not only is it tiring, but if you're not getting pressure on the quarterback and you have to cover them for extended periods of time, play after play after play, at some point it's just going to get broken down because you're just going to get worn out, right? So I think that goes back to the first question: what part of the defensive line is going to step up? And that's part of what freshmen we're going to see. Hopefully on the defensive line, hopefully they are very productive, because that's going to help the secondary.
Well, I think that's the biggest kind of question mark and cause for concern if you are like rooting for LSU. It's like you have the two position groups that one needs to be good, and the fact that you have question marks on the defensive line and the secondary is what's troublesome for most LSU fans looking at it because of what you saw last year. But I would imagine you total change, 4 new tires on the defensive staff.
Yep, upgrade.
And you got actual coaching at the defensive line spot. Not only do you went from 0 to 2, and so I feel like it'll just be a little bit better regardless.
Yeah.
But it is one of those groups needs to step up to help the other one.
No.
Because
The
you feel good
defensive
about the
groups
line.
The defensive line group needs to step up. Like I said, I don't care how good the back end of it is. If they get all day to do whatever they want back there, it won't matter. Or if every run's getting popped for 5+ and you're in 3rd and short or 3rd and not very predictable, it won't matter. So the defensive line, you got to cover that, and you got to be able to figure out a way to have that side or that part of the defense be productive first. And I think if you can do that, then we can start kind of pointing at some of these other spots on the field as the season goes.
Do you see a world where, because of the defensive line depth and where it kind of is right now, that Perk does kind of move? I know a lot has been made of him moving back to the middle, like you saw it against Florida State, and he looked a little confused, and it wasn't exactly what you wanted to see. If you're not able to get pressure with the defensive line, do you see him blitzing more and becoming kind of like that walk-down defensive
No,
end?
I think no, it's not going to happen that way. What's going to happen and what needs to happen, not only for LSU this year, but for Perk in his future as well, is he has to learn how to play in the box. and he has to get used to and comfortable with playing in the box. What LSU's perfect situation would be is like, yeah, obviously you would love some defensive stars on the line that you 100% could count on that'll go and do it. And any defense's best situation is if they can rush the passer with 4, right? Like that's always the greatest spot you could ever be in. But with that being said, like let's just say if you got to filter in and you got to rotate a good number of dudes up there to be able to get quality play, Perk's value when it comes to rushing the passer in his defense will be in obvious passing downs. And I think it'll serve not only LSU the best, but it'll serve him the best going forward if he learns how to play in the box. And then he also learns, hey, now it's time to pin my ears back. Let me go get him. And if they put him in, if they can find out, figure out a way to make this defense productive without asking them to have to rush the passer on 3rd and 4s and stuff like that early in the game. And I think that's the better off this defense will be. But I think you're going to see him in the box a whole lot more this year. And I think it's best for him to be in the box.
Last question, pertaining to LSU football, and obviously other questions will be asked, I'd imagine, throughout the course of the show. But I'm going to go on the offensive side. I don't want to say it's a necessarily huge question mark, but the offense is going to look a little different than it did last year. I think that they're going to have a lot of the same concepts, but I think it's going to be executed a little bit differently. Obviously Jaden Daniels was an unbelievable threat with his legs. He's a great passer of the football. He went number 2 overall for a reason. Nussmeier is plenty capable. I think he is going to be really good at the quarterback position. But what is the offense going to look like? Who's going to take the reins as a running back? Who's going to be the number 2 and 3 receivers? Who's going to take over that role?
Trey Bradford.
And where'd he go?
One catch for
first play of the game.
70 yards.
First play of the game.
Never to be seen again.
No, crazy. But what's the offense going to look like? Is there going to be more of a, I know you're going to spread them out. You're going to be out the shotgun. You're going to have a lot of that type, the RPOs type looks. But is it going to be more of a pro style where you have sometimes he's going to be under center more than he was last year, and there's going to be some play action mixed into it, right? Because he has the big arm. You have powerful running backs. You have the number 1 offensive line in the country. Is that going to be more of the game? Brian Kelly has shown that he's able to do that.
Loves the tight end.
In his past, loves his tight end. He has 3 really good tight ends, right? One who's going to get 1,000 yards receiving. Actually, I went to 800.
850.
No, it was 800. It was 800. Okay? But what is that going to look like? Is it going to be – it's going to be a mixture, probably a majority out of the shotgun. But I would assume that he's going to have maybe, more under center, right? More of what a pro-style offense would look like. That's a question to me. What do y'all think?
I think
Mason
if
Taylor.
If not just Mason Taylor, I do think in the pass game, the tight end position will be utilized more this year, simply because you don't have the ability to run the quarterback runs or the escapability that Jaden was able to show you to turn into big plays and stuff that they obviously also schemed up for him to be design runs and stuff like that. So I think you're going to be trying to take underneath yards a lot more with those guys. I'm willing to see, or I'm wondering to see, how much are the running backs going to get used in the pass game this year, if they're going to be used more or not, and how different things are going to look. Like you said, I do think you're going to see a little bit, maybe some plays under center where he's turning his back and, using play action a little bit. I wonder, and I think it's something that's huge for him. You got guys like Kyron Lacy and Nuss who have both been in the same offense for the last 3 years, both of them, right? Or 2 years for sure.
2 years for sure.
With that being said, Kyron's, for the most part, I believe, has always really worked with the ones, while Nuss has always kind of run with the 2s. So I don't know in the past how much continuity they have with working with each other as outside of one-on-ones and, throwing balls on air, like dry runs on air before this year. The continuity between that group, the quarterback group, and obviously, really just Nussmeier and the receivers, to me, how quickly can that come together? How quickly can they mesh at game speed and get on kind of board there? And I think that's going to be huge for them. But I do think, obviously, it's going to look a little different this year. But I really, truly expect a high-end type of offense again.
Yeah. I mean, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, it feels like you almost need it to be a little bit different because of your defensive situation, where you want to play ball control a little bit, where you can take time off the clock, be able to control what you do offensively, so you're not putting your defense out there like even when you had Dave Aranda in 2019, that offense was not something that they were prepared for, and you saw the defense struggle to like acclimate to the tempo and speed of the game.
Coach, I think that's any defense. It really doesn't matter how good you are on defense. Like if you go sit on the sideline and 3 plays later you're up again, you're always on the field. Yeah, you're gonna get up. You can give up more points. It doesn't really matter. So I wouldn't say they need it to be that way. Like if you're scoring, it's obviously a good thing, and they're not gonna not score just so they don't put the defense on the field. But with that being said, just because of what you got here, like I just don't think at this point right now, I don't expect it to be as explosive as it was last year and literally a big play waiting to happen any single down, which is what it turned into for the vast majority of last year. But I do think it's going to be a very efficient and a very good offense who has a chance to hit you over the top very often.
Well, I think it's important to distinguish the difference, right? Like, you don't think it's going to be as explosive. That's not Jared saying that he doesn't think it's going to be an elite offense. That's him saying, hey, I just don't see us scoring in 3 plays as consistently as we did last year because you don't have a guy who can take it 85 yards with his legs in any given play. I think the passing game is going to be explosive, and I think the running game is going to be explosive, but I think it's going to be explosive in a different type of way. It's going to be a very elite offense and a very productive offense, but it's not going to be, we're going to score in 4 plays every drive. You know, you may have more 8 to 10 play drives, which I think is good because at the end of the day,
you get to dictate.
You dictate the pace of the game, and you are going to be able to wear down a defense. So when it comes time to at the end of the game, you can be able to
Well, you said what? Like
run it down their throat or just put the game away.
Well, you want to wear down a defense, right? How do you wear them down? By keeping them on the field.
That's what I'm saying.
So, like, I don't think they're going to be trying to – it's off the field, but, yeah, dude, the more a defense is on the field, the more vulnerable you are to give up points. I think it's pretty simple to understand.
Yeah. And
so it doesn't matter how good you are. You know?
No doubt. And I think that, not saying that they won't be able to have a big play offense. And, look, maybe it's gonna develop into that where, hey, look, I mean, Joe Burrow wasn't running all over the field with his legs when he was here, but it was explosive because the receivers all stepped up.
Dude, you don't have to go back as far as Joe, like we talked about last year with Jaden. To start the year, even though he started the year with a 300-yard game throwing, we all thought, oh, dude, it's not going to look the same. He's not going to push the ball down the field. It's going to be dink and dunk. That's just what he does. He's not really going to push it. Yeah, I think that all changed at the end of the year. They literally had explosive plays up and down the damn field all pretty much the majority of the year. So, yeah, it could easily turn into that. I'm not saying it's not going to be that, but without the threat of the real run like you have with the quarterback, you're going to manufacture more yards through the other ways, and I think that's what you'll see.
It was quite the luxury to have a quarterback that topped out at, 22 miles an hour against
just
Florida.
Under,
pretty much.
Yeah,
just under.
Yeah. Didn't have to run the 40. I think
almost
just
as
put
fast
the
as
tape on.
Tyreek last year.
That's insane.
Crazy.
And so I don't think Nuss is going to top out at that speed. He can.
Daniel Jones did run at 21 miles an hour too, though. Then he fell.
Sniper.
Then he fell before he scored. Big year for him.
Big year for the it is.
A lot on his shoulders.
But for like
Big,
the LSU.
big Hard Knocks tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's the draft.
It'll just be a coup de grace. It'll be a fun one. You just get to see Malik get drafted.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like we know the end.
When's the other one start?
And he's been lighting
soon,
it
right?
up. He's been lighting it up at camp.
I heard he's
all over.
He's exactly what they wanted him to be. Yep. He's exactly what they wanted him to be.
Made him a star.
Keep going. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, because you don't have a quarterback like Jaden Daniels, 21.8 miles an hour in pads against Florida in the heat, like at night, third quarter. Like I don't think Nuss will do that, but I do think he's mobile. But one player I do want to highlight defensively is I think you saw him a little bit flash last year, but Deshaun Womack's going to have a huge year also. Yeah. I think that the end play is going to be better. It's just more about the middle that they have to figure out.
I think I'm looking at the roster now. Like, I'm not saying depth. I get it, right? You talk about depth, but I think the question about depth is just it's more the experience. I think if the guys stay healthy and they go out there, and the guys perform, they have enough numbers, right? And it's about, hey, are they going to be able to make the adjustments early on in their career to be counted on in that number of like, okay, now we have a 2 deep defensive line, we're good.
Yeah, I think the conversation of depth for me always comes down to capability more so than just sheer numbers.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like, they have a roster. They have a full roster. The roster's filled out. They got depth. Doesn't matter. Can those guys actually be? Are they capable? Can we count on you and go out there? For instance, my freshman year, Todd Monken wanted any receiver who touched the field to be able to know the playbook from the X, the Y, the W, and the Z. He wanted you to know all of that for you to touch the field. So Chris Mitchell and I pretty much knew the X and the Z. Didn't really know the Y and the W, which means what? We didn't really play much.
Right.
So my point is we're on the depth chart. We got numbers, but we're not able, quote unquote, to go out there and do what's being asked.
Insert Terrence Tolliver.
Exactly. No, stop. Jesus Christ. What's wrong with you?
Three touchdowns.
So my point is like that to me is what depth means. Not do you actually have the physical bodies? Yeah, they have it, dude. They're LSU. They've filled out the roster. I promise you they have. Can we count on you? Are you capable? Can you run the playbook? Can you do what we need you to do? That to me is depth, because if I can put you out there and you can really go out and do it, that's depth to me.
Agreed. I mean, it doesn't matter if you can't be counted on, then you might as well just not be on the roster, right? Like to count it as far as like, hey, can I put you in and can I count on you to perform at a high level? Great, that's depth. Guys who may not be quite ready, yeah, you're on the roster and you're ready in a year or two, but for this year, that doesn't count for
not for
towards
depth,
our depth.
Well, and as much we're getting to the point where, as I guess counterproductive it is for LSU to play USC week 1, I am ready to play USC
doubt.
week 1. Like, I know it's not the best idea,
Well,
but
look,
let's put
here's
our
the
nuts
deal.
on the table here.
Here's the deal. It's not like like Florida State, I think, was a little bit. I mean, they're pretty highly touted.
We didn't leave that game going, LSU's defense is a problem.
Right. No, but Florida State was, I think, had more hype going into the year than USC does. Now, obviously, it's USC. I think I don't even know if they're ranked in the top 20. Maybe they're 25th. I think that's the preseason ranking that I saw. So I'm confident in where we got going on. I think it's a great test. And I know people don't like it. And, yeah, look, if you lose it, it sucks. But if you win it, it looks
been a long
great.
time.
I
I
would love to have that game be game 2.
Yeah, me too.
Me
But
too.
Of course.
with it being said, I still think LSU's at the point right now where, because of the game that always looms and what it's been for the last 15 to 17 years, what it's been in November, you need a marquee game early on, because if you don't have it, you lose that game, you don't really have anything to fall back on. Because the way it's been in this conference, and obviously this year changes because there's no more divisions, just the top 2 teams. Usually that's not going to be from the same conference, just because of the way, from the same division, the way the schedule kind of rolls out. But in the past, it's always been, you get to November, well, if you lose that game, you don't have a better record. You're not going to the SEC championship. How on earth could they put you in front of those 2 teams?
Right.
So you need that game in there. Now, do you need it to be the first game out the gate? Maybe not. But, I think LSU is at a point right now where they need a marquee opponent early in the season, because I think
You got to go prove it.
Where Alabama was able to get is Nick knew they were going to take care of business throughout the season, and all they had to do was put themselves in a spot where they were at 1 or none when it came to the LSU game, and they were in a good spot to do whatever they needed to do the rest of the year, where LSU wasn't in that spot. We had been losing that game a lot, which also put you on the wrong side of that conversation, if you will. So I do think they're still at a spot now where you need a marquee game early in the year. It's a good test. And you got to think of it, and from the inside the building standpoint, you got to think of it as, bro, they got to face us, not we got to face them.
Exactly.
They got to face us. So,
And I think part of it, and we've talked a lot about how good the offensive line is. Last year, look, the offensive line was good.
Great.
This year, they're better than they were last year, right? Especially going into the season. And so they're a veteran offensive line. They've been together for a while. They're extremely talented. So I think that you can see, if things aren't running as smoothly as you would expect them to run, or hoped they would run the first game, because first game jitters, getting all kind of like the cobwebs off in gameplay, you can lean on that offensive line and say, all right, boys, I need y'all to take this thing over, and we're going to try to simplify this thing, and it's going to be quick passes, or it's going to be, hey, we're going to just start pounding the rock behind you, and let's start getting into a rhythm. You have the ability to do that with how good the offensive line is. I'm not saying they're going to. I'm saying if you look up, you're like, oh, shit, we're not we're a little out of whack. All right, hey, calm down.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
So here's my thing. Here's how I think about it. Remember where New Orleans 2 years ago to start the season, Florida State, remember where Jaden Daniels and that offense was at the time, early, especially the first half of that game.
You don't really know what was going to happen.
Kayshawn was cooking the books.
No, just the first half of that game, you just got a lot of, man, they don't look in sync. Man, they don't look good. Man, they don't have no time. Man, he doesn't trust this. He won't stand in the pocket. All of that, right? The majority of that line is still playing for this team.
Yeah.
right? And so for me, what I think about this year's offense is like, it's to me is how together will you start, or how quickly can you get to what is the top end of that offense? Because I do think this will be a more productive offense when they're not at their best compared to the last 2 years with Jaden behind there when they weren't at their best. I think it was just not a very good offense. I do think because of how strong they are up front and because of the experience and because of the ability that they have up front, they're always going to be productive. It's just how high can this thing go? How quickly can it get to that height? And how long can you keep it there?
And for that offensive line, as good as they were the last 2 years with Jaden Daniels, that is a difficult way to play the game if you're on the offensive line when you're not exactly on schedule. Yeah, you don't know where he is. And so it's hard
I think that's always something with a running quarterback.
Yeah, right.
That's
what I'm saying.
But my point is, at that point 2 years ago, is they never played together. They didn't know how he played. They didn't have any of that stuff. Those guys were still young at that time too. That was freshman Will Campbell. Like a year before, he was still playing in high school. That's no longer a thing, and those guys have so much experience at this level now that if I can always count on you to, hey, we got this run call, we block it up, and we can fall forward for the most part, that puts me in a lot better spot moving forward than we can't run it, we got to drop back and pass it, we can't protect it,
we can't block it.
That's way different. So I think this offense is geared to be a lot more successful when it's not good, if you will, when they're early on and they're kind of putting it together, than the last 2 years, if you will.
And we've got a couple Ask Mikey and Mitches in here. I know it's Monday, but in this same vein of this conversation, Fonz Farelli, my guy, put in a question: where do you think that you see the LSU offense going, trending in terms of run versus pass? At 70-30 run pass or 60-40?
No, you really want to be as close to 50-50 as possible.
Yeah, that would be great.
I think that 60-40, 55-45 is really like the honey hole money spot right there. If you got to go 70-30 pass, you're probably playing behind in a lot of games and probably getting your ass whipped. So I would hope that they're not 70-30.
And you got a lot of guys in the backfield that are good.
John Emery.
Especially in this league. If we're having to go 70-30 and they know it and we know it and they're pinned back, you're getting your ass whipped. That's not where you want to be.
How do you finish games? You finish games by
victory formation,
throwing the ball around, and you finish the games by, hey, we're gonna run the ball and get first downs whenever we need first downs, and we're gonna make you stay on the field. And we're gonna milk some of the clock at the end of the games. I'm not saying you do that all game and be boring like Michigan was last year, but I'm saying you're gonna have to lean on that at some point in the game.
You also set tones that way, too. You start games like that. And it doesn't necessarily mean like, hey, I got to literally just pick it up, turn it around, stick it in someone's stomach. But you take run-type plays. You spread the field. You do those pop passes. You start physical play early. You set tones. You let them know you're in their face. You let them know you're coming at them all day. And you set tones, and you finish games with the run game.
Yep.
But teams that win do that.
And these guys get exhausted.
That's what they need. Yeah.
By running the football, you are allowing your guys your best position group on the field is your offensive lineman. You're allowing them to pound on their defensive line and wear them out. And now their linebackers and defensive linemen are going to have to tackle your big running backs time and time and time again. And they're going to get worn out.
Right through a motherfucker face.
And that's what I would expect to see. I would expect them to see it try to get to close to 50. I'm not saying it's going to be 50-50. But 60-40, 55-45, like Jared said, I think that is kind of what you would expect.
That's where you get into this LSU team could be a playoff team if that's the way that it lines up, because you do have Josh Williams came back. You have Caleb Jackson. If you get him into a game where he's the second running back coming in the third and fourth quarter, where you don't want that.
Well, then you have Caden Durham, right?
And I'm talking about from the other team's perspective. I do want that.
Right.
But you don't want to see a fresh Caleb Jackson coming in with 8 carries, then he comes in the third and fourth quarter like, this dude is a monster.
And you got Caden Durham, right, who's a stud.
And he can hit you over the head.
Right, and you got Trey Holly, who I know hasn't played and practiced much, but he's going to, at some point in the season, he's going to be back. They're going to be – he showed you last year he can take the ball a distance at any point.
Doesn't respect the troops at all.
You would imagine that they're going to have like some sort of plays in the playbook specifically for him. Now – I'm not saying he's going to be the featured guy, but
I would imagine if they don't, I would imagine too, if they don't, there's probably a chance that what's already on the field has been very efficient and very effective.
Right.
So like one way or the other, like I think that's what, like I find it hard to find that this will be an offense where we're sitting there and we're like, man,
we don't have an identity.
We don't know what they don't look like they know what they're doing. They don't look like they're good enough. Like I find it hard to believe that that's what we'll find out of this offense.
And you'll find out very quickly because this is not the USC defense that was run by
We don't know that yet.
Well, it's not Alex Grinch, which was Lincoln Riley's best friend and in the wedding and all of these things. He tried to bury him on the depth chart and be like, dude, you got a job. We'll be fine. And then it finally came to a head where, like, my ass is in the jackpot. So he gets the best probably.
What is that? Can we break down that phrase?
It's from the umpire.
I know who said it. I know what, like, where it came from.
That's
but, like,
the first time I heard it, but
what does it mean?
I've never heard it until I did, but I did know what he was saying whenever he said that.
Yeah, but, like, what? Like, my ass is in the jackpot.
My feet are on the fire.
I mean, I understand what it means, but, like,
I don't know how he got there.
Well, yeah, how did that happen?
That's umpires are an eclectic group.
Which John Boy does a great job breaking down the disagreements. Look, Pittsburgh was in the middle of one. Derek Shelton was yelling at the umpire because the pitch clock kept stopping. And he was yelling at him, and the umpire was saying, I don't have a magic buzzer to stop it. I'm not stopping it. And he was like, well, who the fuck is stopping it? And nobody can. And they start yelling at him and tell him to shut the fuck up.
I'll get you ejected.
He's like, why is it stopping? It shouldn't be. It was fun. And John Boy does a great job. John Boy does a great job of that stuff. He does a great job of that.
The Joe Kelly experience came back with a vengeance. The buzzer didn't work, his pitch comm didn't work, and he threw a hissy fit. And I was like, this guy is electric content every time he steps on the mound.
Oh, Joe's a show.
Joe is a show.
Joe is one of those dudes that they talk about when they talk about, hey, like, there's so many personalities in baseball. Oh, Joe's one of those guys. Joe's definitely one of those guys.
Why would you put that on me as I'm trying to communicate with you off camera?
I thought you were saying, like, put it back to me.
Nope. That's not at all what I was saying.
Check my phone. But I was saying about the defensive coordinator because there's no Grinch, and now you got the best one in the country, allegedly, and D'Anton Lynn. Like, the USC defense will look better, too. Like, they're both kind of – LSU and USC are both kind of in the same spot where big prove-it game, and I think they'll both feel like they're a little bit better just because they have to be.
One thing I do love about the Blake Baker back here, about Corey Raymond being back here, I do think both of them understand that the ability to come in here and do a good job, no matter if you got top-end talent or whatever you have on that team, for them, their own careers it's literally going to skyrocket everything they do.
Yeah.
And it's going to set them on a path where they're always good when it comes to being coaches. So I do think they come in super highly motivated, and I think that's what LSU needs at this point.
Agreed. 100%. And I think that it's going to be you're going to see a lot of energy renewed. We have any more? You said you had a couple.
Oh, yeah, we got a couple. Let me get back to the chat here. Ask him them. Fonz again. Who's upset that I misread his question a little bit? I tweaked it a touch. Have y'all actually looked at the depth of the D-line? Even if the freshmen take 10 to 15% of the snaps, do you really think it's a weak point? And that's where I would.
Well, that's what we said earlier.
You'll find out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
just because they have to play the depth.
Yeah, I don't think
there.
It's not even a question if it's whether
they're good. They're playing well.
But when I look at the roster right now, 100%, you're like, if I'm game planning and going against LSU right now, I'm like, all right, how well can we move the ball on the ground? Let's just see that right now. Because if I can start moving and I keep getting into these 2nd and 2s or 3rd and 3s and stuff like that, and now I can literally stick it in somebody's belly, pull it out, and make the pass because you have to commit. The D-line is 100% where you're trying to attack first when it comes to them because you're like, this is the unknown. This is where they're young. This is where they're thin. This is what I'm going after. So, yeah, I think coming into the season, it's 100% valid to say the defensive line is their weakest point.
Yep.
That's the biggest. That's
just reality.
That's a question mark.
The biggest question mark and the biggest task for that defensive coaching staff is how high can we get the caliber of play from this position right now?
Agreed.
And if you can score, what's the number?
What?
What's the number that you feel comfortable of LSU scoring? 30 points a game? Is that too much to ask?
30 is a pretty good spot for LSU.
I think 30 across literally the entire college football is where if I can get my offense to do that a game, we should be pretty damn good.
Yeah.
So I think that's a fair spot pretty much anywhere, just because of the nature of how the game is played today.
Especially when you have Mason Taylor coming back after just missing the 1,000-yard mark by 650 yards.
Man, think about it. 800's not that far away.
That one game.
800's not that far away, you know? Be more of a focal point in the offense.
Definitely.
You don't have a guy.
Did you see him playing paintball?
No.
LSU, they did a little team day, little fun with the boys.
Important.
It is camaraderie building. Nuss was leading the squad. He's a quarterback
That's
on and
what
off
you
the
want.
field, but Mason Taylor went out there shirtless and was running around like a madman. And I didn't know who he was, so I commented on it. I was like, "Put this guy on kick," and his mother was like, "That's Mason Taylor. That's what's up."
Oh, she responded to you.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was like, "Well, he doesn't need to run down on kick. Never mind."
ready.
That's great.
we need 1,000 yards from him.
That's great. She responded to you.
1,000 yards.
Lloyd's intertwined with all of the coaches and the staff,
Yeah.
and he's got
There's
everybody.
a lot of moms.
You got a lot of connections.
Yeah.
Look at Lloyd.
A lot of connections.
Just trying to connect to Sharief now.
Is that all we have in the chat?
Oh, we got plenty.
Okay. Is Sharief in there?
No, but I hope he does join.
He is going to. He's texting right now.
Obviously, LSU alum matching up. This is from Kenneth Bilala.
Okay.
Do you think Skeens versus Bregman first time up strikeout or
Ooh, good. Good call.
Ooh, good one. What do you got?
Bregman's going through a little bit of a
He had a walk-off home run the other night.
yeah down through the ball.
I don't think it's going to be a strikeout. I'm not saying Bregman's going to get a hit, but I think he's going to put it in play.
I got ground out.
Yeah.
Ground out at bat number 1.
Want a little splinker? He's probably not going to throw him a splinker. Maybe.
Yeah, he probably will.
Yeah, he probably will.
Yeah, he probably will.
Bunt
No.
for a hit.
That's not going to happen.
I would put the house on that not happening.
I don't even know if they have odds.
And he didn't even just say bunt. He just said for a
hit.
Like legit for a hit. I'm going to go.
Drop one down.
Oh,
I mean, that's more realistic than him bunting, actually. Like, just straight up sack bunting. But he ain't doing
no.
that.
But bunt for a hit and it actually happened. No, it's not happening.
Oh, Dylan Hess, your favorite question, Michael.
What's the lineup?
Who's your number 8 for baseball in 2025? You see the jersey behind you. This is your legacy. You did this to yourself.
Can we petition to get this thing like he gets consulting or
Do you not have like a group? The 18 has like a group chat.
No, we don't have one of those.
That's bullshit, man.
So it's just you?
You got to get on
No,
your. You got to
no,
get
I
on
don't-
your uncle, man. Tell him this is not
Yeah,
cool, man.
I'm not consulted on that. That's fine.
Would you like to be? I mean, we could make that happen.
I wouldn't mind it. Pearson, I would think. He's the veteran presence. He's been there. He's grinding his way through it. Comes up with big hits.
He embodies the number.
Feels like that's.
I feel like it's an easy selection.
Yeah, I
this
feel like
year.
that's really the only one.
Well, who's going to be 18 for football then?
Don't they already have the 18s?
No.
Oh, they haven't announced them yet, huh?
Mm-mm.
No.
I think. Who do you think is going to be 18?
Josh Williams.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that one. It's hard to go against that one.
It
They're
is.
going to have obviously 7 is still going to.
They should give it to
Yes.
Hey,
get
Perk-
44 off his body.
You want to know what's crazy? If Perk goes out and has a great year this year, it's gonna be crazy that he went the whole 3 years without 7 or without 18.
He should be 7.
I'm not saying he shouldn't. I'm just
Have
saying
they,
like,
they
it's just
haven't
crazy.
have they given 7 out?
Well, Will
I'm
Campbell
sure
has
Will
it
was
on
gonna have it,
offense.
yeah.
Oh yeah, you can't have it. You're not going to.
You can do dual.
You
You
can,
can
but
do
I-
dual
I
sevens,
mean-
right?
I would love that.
No,
Because
I
technically
hate
Will
double numbers.
doesn't wear 7. He just has
Has
it
the
on his
patch.
patch.
They might
You know
do
what I
it.
mean?
This would be the.
You know what I mean?
not just
That
saying it
would be
the
a
year.
huge move. Just for, I think he likes 4, but
No, he obviously.
I still play that. I'll play that game.
Let me give you that. When you come in as a freshman and they give you 4, it ain't because it was a random selection.
Well,
Yeah.
he was 40.
Oh yeah, he was 40.
And he went to 4 quickly. Is my
Yeah.
point. And that's not a random selection. Like, oh, I think that one's open. That's probably when he was asking for.
That's
which
what his
is-
high school number.
Yeah,
That's my point.
that's what he want. He requested it.
But give him 7.
Yeah, so Pearson. That's what I would think. Unless you
guess-
can give it to
I'm
a
trying to
pitcher.
think of
which
who else-
I don't
yeah.
think he'd give it to a pitcher.
Bear, but I don't. I mean,
Who?
I like,
Oh, that would be cool.
you can give it to Bear, but I like. I
Oh,
like
Bear.
Pearson.
Bear. Yeah.
I just
You would
like
love it.
Pearson for
Yeah.
what the number has been. I like Pearson for it.
Yeah, me too.
Ask Eminem. Fonzarelli. What's better, regular M&Ms or peanut butter M&Ms or peanut M&Ms?
Regular. I'm a regular guy.
Hell no, give me the peanut joints all
I'm a
day.
regular guy.
Smashing them peanut joints all day.
Do you put them in the freezer?
I like
Nah,
them in
you
the
tripping.
freezer.
Just peanut.
That's why I like regular. It's hard when you put. It's just it's easier when they're frozen. Like then if you put like the peanut M&Ms in there, it's So more of a process.
I like a nice adventure with the peanut M&Ms.
Me
I
too.
like that.
And frozen. I'm a wild man. Grapes in the freezer also.
See, that makes my mouth weird.
You need to
I
go,
like
to,
grapes.
you need to, go to the dentist.
I have 0 cavities.
I like watermelon. Fridge.
Me too.
Salt?
Nah, bro, you tripping, bro. I don't do all that.
Tahini. Allie likes to
On
put
the
tahini
watermelon?
on the watermelon.
Whoa.
That's aggressive.
Yeah, it's like a thing.
That's an
You got some
adventure.
watermelon in the fridge? I might try to do that.
Yeah,
today.
people, that's a thing. What we got?
Ask him and him. Fonz again. Thank buddy.
Part of the show. Just come in.
Yeah, come on.
Working, cooking.
When you were playing, seeds or gum?
I'm seeds every day, and then every now and then when your mouth gets kind of torn up with seeds. All right, so every now and again when I would get to that spot, that's when I would go. All right, I got to switch it up for maybe a day or two and get some gum in here. So, but for the most part, seeds. Yeah, I'm a seeds guy. Definitely a seeds guy.
I'm a gum guy. I said I wasn't very superstitious. The only thing I was superstitious about, or the only thing I would really do, is if I put a piece of gum in my mouth and had a good at bat. Didn't have to be a hit, just a good at bat, and I felt good. I'd keep that piece of gum in my mouth until I had a bad at bat.
See, that's why I don't like gum, because like if I put, it doesn't matter if I go one thing of gum to play or if I go 6 to start. That's what I'm staying with the whole time. So at the end of the day, it's like this hard, chalky.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, bro, I can't even see straight. I'm having to chew so
I
hard.
need
the gum.
it. Yeah.
I'm like, it's not it, bro. And I'm gonna chew it until it's literally like time to go to bed. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, let me take this gum.
I'll
out.
put it on the
So I'm
nightstand
just-
and shoot again tomorrow.
There's
that's
been
disgusting.
times where I've gotten 5 at bats and I've had 5 really good at bats, and it's like it is not good at the end of the game, and I'm like can't take it out until the game's over. Now, bad at bat, first at bat, take the gum out, another piece of gum, bad at bat, second at bat.
Same
okay,
flavor?
Let me try no gum. Okay, and then when I do that, it's like okay, seeds in the outfield for a little bit, but seeds tear up my mouth if you have too many of them.
That does happen.
Yeah.
It was always same flavor of gum.
It was but
And
see,
then if it didn't work, we would go Winter Blast or Glacier Freeze.
so
deal.
the best gum that I would eat would be the sugar-free gum.
Mm.
So like I would hope that now you don't have that option as much in the minor leagues. Big leagues you have, I think is it double bubble or is it? I think it's double bubble sugar-free gum.
Yeah.
That was my choice. Yeah.
Seeds. Give me the seeds.
What we got? Another one?
Break WSD 89. He's on your. He's got you pegged.
Me?
Ask him and him.
Well, that's
More
kinda-
Mikey. I want to hear your thoughts on the new Gilmore Girls season.
Wow. It came out?
I figured you would know.
I have no idea.
He asked you. Hey,
Never
don't ask
seen
me,
it.
Coach. I
Never
haven't seen
seen it.
one episode of
That's
Gilmore
one
Girls.
that my wife doesn't watch
Ah,
that I know of. We don't watch it together.
your second favorite question. Jacolo Allen. Do you think Alex Box is falling behind?
Yes?
Yeah, that's the cycle of it, though. That's how it always goes.
Yeah, right.
You build one, and the next one is going to try to up you. That's what this conference has turned into.
Well, look,
and it's been that way for a while. So
Here's the next evolution, right? It's not stadiums now. Stadiums are always going to be evolving. The next thing is all these entertainment centers that they're building around the football stadiums and around their athletic venues. Tennessee just announced that they are, it's like $100 million, however big of a project it is, building an entertainment district around their football. There's been conversations at LSU about them doing that. And so that's the next step. That's the next step in the evolution.
I mean, if you look at, it would make sense because, like, if you look at the model of every professional sports
Right.
league, like, we can't rebuild the stadium every 10, 15 years. We can only add on and do other stuff. But all of those venues have built up the quote-unquote city or the quote-unquote area around it and made it entertainment
Right.
districts. It only makes sense that that's going to trickle its way down into college ball because, I mean, what are you going to do? LSU's not building a new stadium. They're not going to build a new Tiger Stadium. So, like, if we upgrade the stadiums and the stadiums are good, well, how do we keep people around it? You start building up the area. So it only makes sense.
100%. That's good. You're going to start seeing that a lot. You're already seeing it.
Which I think is good. I think it's great for it, honestly.
Me too. Yes? Lloyd?
Yes.
You don't have any thoughts on that?
Oh, Alex Box is fine just the way it is.
Okay.
You build it, they'll come.
Next question.
Did I say I had another one?
I don't know. You said, "Oh, you got a lot. No more
The
questions."
people may keep coming, but the recruits may not. That's if it falls that far behind. It's just,
No,
think
listen.
of it
The
that way.
entertainment districts will be really good.
We're gonna
for,
gamble in there? Is that what we're talking
What?
about? Is it like
No, just food.
kiosk?
No, like food,
Oh.
restaurants, bars, like
bars,
all that kind of
things for
stuff,
people
like
to do.
around the stadium to where like if
Tigerland.
you come in there, yeah, but like not Tigerland, like you know, when
But
there's a
that's
football game and there's events happening, and now all of a sudden you're going to be able to host different things because you have the infrastructure to have restaurants and and it's good for business, good for the city. It's that's going to be the next evolution. There are conversations being had. Tennessee's already announced it. There's conversations being had, I'm sure, at every school to do that.
And our friends at Land Rover have tickled this
Yes,
a
they
little
have.
bit by having tailgates and things at Fred's or at walk-ons
Or at
where you're
walk-ons.
able to
Yep.
kind of get a little bit of that taste of an experience.
Yep.
100% agree. Sharief is right around the corner, I think. He's about to be back at the Airbnb, he told me. You get nice and comfy.
I keep getting confused because our guest for Wednesday is in a different place.
Yes. Not in the United States of America.
No. City of Love.
City of Love. Which, how awesome is it that the beach volleyball venue has literally the Eiffel Tower right behind it?
Is there a team that gets more of a bad rap than the handball team? Because everybody's like, what if they had these guys playing?
Well,
Because everybody says the best in the world.
that's a conversation because, like, yeah, like, can you imagine having
Paul Skeens.
Paul Skeens throw a 102-mile fastball at the goalie? Like, you know, I understand that, but that's not the sport they play. I mean, that's like saying, like, man, could you imagine having – I guess there's really not another sport that you can say, yeah, oh, could you imagine having this sport play that? Yeah, I mean –
Well, it does feel like the most translational sport of, like, I'd love to see him do this.
yeah, because it's about, hey –
hand-eye and
physicality kind of –
arm
we
talent.
played that a lot. We played handball a lot at our place we used to train. That's basically what handball is.
Yeah, I guess we kind of did.
You know what I mean? You have to stay outside of this thing. You have to throw it into a net.
Mhm.
Can't run with it, I don't believe. Right? You have to pass it. I don't really know the rules of handball. But, yeah, I mean, that's a conversation. But Paul Skeens and those guys will never do it because it's baseball. Baseball's not in the Olympics. Are they? They're not in the Olympics.
No.
Not this year. Next Olympics, right?
I think so, but still, I mean, how are you really gonna do it in the middle of the
Yeah, it's
baseball
going to be
season?
too many minor leaguers.
Right.
Okay.
but even if it's minor leaguers, it's not
Yeah.
cream of the crop. So.
Right. All right. Well, we have held off on this topic all show because we're just fans of football. We're fans of the New Orleans Saints. We're not in the know. We're not in Irvine, California, not Irving, California, Lloyd. Irvine, California.
That's right.
Where the sun is shining. It's not as humid. It's not as rainy as it's been over here in Louisiana. Sharief, our friend, Sharief, long friend of mine from, I mean, I don't even know, years and years. It was back when I was at LSU. Used to cover me and Jared. Now we get to be in the same realm. Sharief.
Journalism. We're in journalism.
Sharief, welcome to the show, man.
Man, I guess we are in journalism. Am I right?
No, you're a journalist.
you are
a journalist.
You're the
we
real
are not.
No.
I've seen their papers. It's not the written word.
I'm just
Wave
an
bye-bye.
entertainer, guys. I'm an entertainer. I'm not a journalist.
I would
just
never-
get in front of a camera and talk.
I would never want to insult you by calling me a journalist. Like, that would be insulting to you. You're way better at your job than I am. I am just a fan that has a mic, that is speaking nonsense, and people sometimes listen and sometimes they don't, and that's the beauty of it.
Someone say I gave Sharief his big break in high school.
Oh, yeah, Lloyd said you interviewed him in high school.
Menard baseball, guys.
Yeah, I do remember. I do remember the Menard Eagles, man. I mean, those were the good old days back in from this 2007 to 2010.
Yeah, but you don't remember him. You just remember Menard. That's
No,
the
he
important.
sought me out.
That's
He's
the
like, "Who will
important.
talk?"
That's the important part to distinguish. You don't remember Lloyd. You just remember
Yeah, he
Menard.
does.
But we're not here to talk about Lloyd
Oh.
or Menard or high school sports
Why
right
not?
now.
Let's talk about Lloyd.
Yeah. We're here to talk about New Orleans Saints. You are out there in beautiful Irvine, California. How has training camp been? What has been some of the guys that have stood out? What are some of the storylines that are happening right now? I know a lot of people are itching for football to start back. It is starting. Hall of Fame game is this week. What is the early conversation like in Irvine, California?
Well, football doesn't really start until they throw the pads on, which they did today for the very first time. The first 4 practices were fine. They were okay. I mean, they were in shells on Friday and Saturday, but today is when it got fun and spicy, got a little physical, chippy and chirpy. We finally saw a first fight between Alante Taylor and Cedric Wilson. A couple hands thrown for a few seconds. That's probably be, the best thing that happened today. But we also got the one-on-ones. That's also very fun to watch as, TV reporters that we like to shoot stuff. The one-on-ones are always the best. I'll tell you some, the guys that are good. Okay, we know that the Chris Olaves, the Rashid Shaheed, those guys are doing well. Watch out for Mason Tipton, the undrafted rookie from Yale. He's putting on. He's putting on the last few practices, man. He's getting out there and he's burning some of the ones and one-on-ones and some team drills. He's connected with Carl a lot, so he's done well so far. And I would say, I'm going to say that Derek Carr is having a very good camp up to this point. I mean, he's catching on to Clay Kubiak's offense. So,
well, that was my next question. What is how has the offense been? I know it's early and you haven't really got to see it really in full force, but how has the offense reacted to Kubiak's offense and the new schemes and the way he's kind of going about it?
Well, look, this is how the offense has been working with Kubiak. It's get the ball and get it out quick. We've seen a lot of quick passes, throughout some of these practices. That is the number one focus, I think, for the Clint Kubiak system, the West Coast offense. They got to find a way to get the ball out of his hands quickly because last year he got sacked 31 times. Derek Carr can't afford to get hit that many times this year and get sacked that many times. I mean, it isn't going to be successful. So far, so good. And yeah, it's training camp. It's not, anything sexy. It's pretty vanilla for the most part. Waiting to see what happens in preseason game number 2 and 3 and the first game of the season against the Panthers. But at least it's a start, and he looks good. Today he was 5 of 7. He's been getting hit a lot. Carl Granderson, yes. The Candyman continues to go after quarterbacks. He has been on fire this camp so far, going after the quarterbacks.
Sharief, Matt. So I know. It's a little bit unfortunate right now. He's dealing with a little bit of a hamstring injury again. If he's out there and healthy and able to go and kind of give what they're expecting out of him this year, are we going to see a little bit of a passing of the guard in the sense of maybe a little bit less usage out of Kamara and more Kendry Miller on early downs, or are we expecting to see kind of the same of what we saw for the most part of his whole career, if you will?
Or is he going to get cut?
Jay Mitch, let me tell you. Dennis Allen isn't happy right now. He wasn't happy whenever he got hurt within a few minutes of the first practice when they weren't even running hard. He pulled a hamstring. Just goes to tell you that he's kind of out of shape. He wasn't ready to practice. I mean, that's, not a good sign to have your number 2/3 running back not there for, the last 4 practices, and full pads with your team. I mean, that's just not a good look. It would have been nice to keep him healthy because, he could be that next guy because we don't know where Alvin is going to be after this year. But Alvin has looked good at camp, which doesn't surprise anyone. Guy's always in good shape, always shifty, always catching, always running, even blocking really well. But, Kendra needs to find a way to stay healthy. Not get healthy, stay healthy because that's been the problem for him so far in his young career. Last year, he just couldn't stay healthy. He showed glimpses when he was playing. Yeah. But if he could stay healthy in this offense, he's going to be productive.
Staying on the running back position per se, part of what makes a running back room successful is the offensive line. Part of what keeps Derek Carr from getting hit is the offensive line. That was a big question mark going into the offseason. Last year they had a bunch of injuries. They drafted a first-rounder who did not really pan out as quickly as they would have hoped last year. They've moved him from left tackle to right tackle. They go out and draft another offensive lineman. What does the offensive line look like? How have they been playing? And what can we expect from them moving forward?
Well, the offensive line, I mean, you really don't see much until they throw the pads on. And even today, it was kind of like the first day of seeing them and seeing what they're like. We'll start with Taliese Fuaga, the first-round pick. He plays the part really well. I think, Eric McCoy said it really good the other day. He's a dog. He hasn't seen a rookie this good in a long time. He says this is probably the best rookie he's seen play football. I mean, yeah, I mean, he's looked the part and played the part up to this point, but whenever the red light comes on, that's when it really matters the most. But if you're asking me through 5 practices, I think he's played up to the part being at left tackle. Now, let's see what happens when some of the best defensive ends in the entire NFL line up against you and you're a rookie and you're facing those guys like a Burns or just a few other guys that they're going to go against this year. He's going to go against the top-notch defensive ends in the NFL. I mean, that's just it. That's going to happen whenever you're playing at left tackle. You get the best guy on top of it, you being the rookie.
Right.
So up to this point, he's been good. Trevor Penning, I'll say this, it's not bad, but it hasn't been great. I mean, not bad, but not great. The thing he is getting better. He's not scared to make mistakes. That's, the one thing that he mentioned today when we talked to him. Not making mistakes is the number one key for him. And, I think that was the biggest takeaway from last year. He was afraid to make those mistakes. Now he's making them and learning from them.
Yeah.
So I would say that's an improvement from last year. But yes, he did move from left to right.
I want to flip it over to the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, that defense has been a stalemate and has been very good for a number of years now. It's always good to be able to inject young, enthusiastic, energetic talent on the defensive side. I know this is day one of them being in pads, but early on, who are we looking at to be that kind of young guy that's able to get in there at whatever position it is and be able to kind of give you persistent performance at that spot to kind of boost what they're doing defensively?
Willie Gay.
Okay, we'll go with cornerbacks.
It's not young.
We're going to go cornerbacks mostly because Marshawn Lattimore has been out with a hip flexor. He got hurt a couple days ago, went out with a hip flexor, and just hasn't come back yet. So that's going to get Kool-Aid McKinstry and Alontae Taylor more run on the outside. I mean, those guys are the future at cornerback for the Saints. And those guys have been getting their run, and I think Alontae has looked solid. He's looked solid in the team drills. And that's the guy that you need to keep an eye on, Alontae, and even Kool-Aid McKinstry, who did have that foot injury whenever he was going through the draft process. Now looks healthy. Now he's involved in the team drills. I'm looking at him, and I can't go without talking about Carl Granderson. Carl Granderson's name's going to continue being brought up, and he's going to have to be their heavy sack producer. And I know you want to talk about Chase Young eventually.
Well, that's
Chase Young today. The team drills for the first time.
That's what I was about to ask. Chase Young, obviously, they bring him in. He was recovering from surgery, or he had to have surgery after they brought him in. And Chase Young, the name, everybody knows the name. He's supposed to be he's a really good player. How has he been now? Obviously, you just said first time out there. How's the recovery going? How's he looking? Where's he going to figure into it? And then you obviously have the Iron Man and Cam Jordan on the other side, who is as consistent as they come.
We'll start with Chase. He is he's already surpassed where he was supposed to be in terms of his, rehab. So he's already past that part. I think is practicing a little earlier than I thought. I thought maybe about practice 6 or 7. So they have practice 5. He gets team drills. Had about a handful of reps today. But he ran with the 2s and 3s. He didn't run with the 1s, obviously, because, he's still working his way in. But when you see him in person, Mikey and Jarrett, Lloyd, I'll tell you what, man, that's one of the biggest human beings I've ever seen in person. I mean, even Dennis was like,
I've
wow.
heard this a lot of times.
When I first saw him in person, he is just a big dude. When you look at him, you're like, wow, that dude is a dude.
Yeah.
He's out there. He's a dude. He's, when he's at 100%, he's going to be just right opposite of Cam Jordan. Now, Cam, he's finally healthy. He had that ankle procedure, wasn't healthy at all last year. His lowest sack production since his rookie year,
right.
The 2 sacks. Just he knew it wasn't good enough, and people are doubting him, and he wants the people to doubt him because saying he's old, he's nearing the end of his career. He wants that doubt, and he wants to prove a lot of people wrong. So only he can do it is, just by showing it like he did in previous years before last year.
I'll throw a name at you. He's obviously had 2 really productive years, 70-plus catches, 80-plus catches, I think almost 1,200 yards. We did see a lot of last year of, I guess you could say, not very good continuity between him and Derek Carr. Is this the year where we see, Chris Olave kind of elevate himself, take another step, and kind of get into that top 10 type of receiver in the league this year?
Yeah, I mean, he says bring it on. He doesn't care about the pressure. He wants to be that star in the NFL. Back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. I think his ability to just catch the ball at the line, even short passes, the slants, and just burst is the great thing. Here's where he needs to work on his game, and he even admitted this. It's the yards after catch. Got to find it. He's just got to get away. I know he's not the biggest guy. Looks like he added a little bit of weight, but got to find a way to break away after the catch. Not 350 yards last year, yards after catch. Yeah. Not the greatest for a guy who's supposed to be the number one receiver on the team, but maybe in this offense, getting him get him in space in Kubiak's offense is probably going to help with the yards after catch. I think that's not just for Derek, it's for guys like Rashid and Olave. But yeah, he has a chance to elevate himself into the top 5, top 10 receivers in the entire NFL. He's on the cusp of it towards the end of last year, but he's got to get those yak, man. That yak has to get better.
Yak.
Oh, yeah.
Yak. You get a yak, baby.
Lloyd likes to yak on the show a few times. He's done that a few times, too.
Different kind of yak. That's why. It wasn't after the catch. It wasn't after the catch.
That was only when we did the shows at the bar.
Yeah, true.
It was after. We weren't on air.
What a Fred's legend he is.
You said it, not me. Speaking of legends, Tyrann Mathieu enters year 12, and I don't know if you've seen this back and forth that he's going through on Twitter, but when you talk about the Saints defense and you have kind of – it feels like the window keeps almost trying to shut with the age variance of Demario Davis, Cam Jordan, now Tyrann Mathieu. What have you made of that defense and where they're kind of heading in this year? Because of what happened with the offense last year, it feels like they're still leaning on a defense that is aging rapidly.
And you bring in Willie Gay, too.
That's right.
Yeah.
One-time LSU.
You bring in a two-time Super Bowl champ. Yeah, I mean, I think that was a sneaky good ad this year. I mean, Willie Gay is maybe the one that we're not talking about because of Chase Young. You're like, oh, what about Willie Gay? He won a couple Super Bowls with the Chiefs, and he's from Mississippi State. So yeah, I mean, the phrase I keep hearing with like the Tyrants and the Cams and Demarios is time is an illusion. But as we know, Father Time is undefeated. Eventually, it's going to catch up to you. So I think they know. I think they know the window's closing. They got to win that championship. Got to at least get in the playoffs. You got to get away from being a mediocre team. Mediocre team is boring. People are bored with the 7 and 10s, 8 and 9s, 9 and 8s. I think they know that, like, hey, we as team captains, we got to make this happen. And I think, Tyrann is another one of those guys who has gotten, more comfortable with being back at home, more comfortable in being in the defense. And you kind of saw him as well, just like Chris Olave, improve each game towards the last 5 or 6 games of the season. So let's see if that carries over, and let's see how much like Willie Gay and some of the other younger guys help out in the secondary.
Sharief, what's the obviously they just started today, was a first day of full pads. What's the schedule like? What can we start seeing to start to ramp up? Obviously, I think the first preseason game is a couple weeks away. What is the schedule moving forward?
Schedule is practice tomorrow, practice Wednesday, off Thursday. They're going to practice Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Then they're going to be off again next Tuesday. Then they get ready for that Arizona Cardinals game next weekend. So that's the next Sunday night game in Arizona against the Cardinals. So look, man, each practice is new installment. They're going to just keep installing. They're going to do goal line. They're going to do one-on-ones near the goal line. They'll get the red zone work in. Some of that stuff we haven't even seen yet. Yeah. I mean, that's naturally because we're only on practice 5. But that is going to continue ramping up as they move along here throughout this training camp practice, which is going to be fun. Some practices are shorter, some practices are longer. But we're about to get into those practices that are going to end at 11:30 Pacific, 1:30 Central. So today was early. It ended at 12:45 Central time. Yeah. So it's starting to get to that point where they're going to ramp up the practices, get 30, 45 minutes longer.
How's the weather out there in Irvine? It looks beautiful.
It looks gorgeous.
Let me see. It's palm tree right there, I think.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
It's not as hot. It's not as hot, obviously, or humid as it is over here, I'd imagine.
No. 78 and breezy. I'm doing all my workouts outside.
There you go.
Full body workouts. I mean, I can't ask for anything better. I got a turf field in front of the Airbnb, so I'm using that to my advantage. So I don't know when we're gonna get weather like this. Honestly, like January, December.
We get it like for like 2 weeks out of the year.
Come on, 3 weeks.
A little bit in the fall when it starts getting a little bit cooler, and then like for like a week maybe in the spring whenever you actually get the spring weather before it gets to be really humid over here.
We ain't got that here.
No. When does a team come back to New Orleans?
So they're going to play the 49ers that following week in San Francisco after the Cardinals game. That would be the 18th. They play on that Sunday night. Then they come back home, and they're going to have those open practices at Tulane on Tuesday, August 20th. And then they're going to have that next the second open practice in the Dome on August 23rd. So they'll have 2 open practices for the fans when they come back home that week leading up into the final preseason game at home against the Titans. So they'll have 1 week at home for training camp practice. And I think, from what I understand, that their facility should be done when they get back home in a few weeks.
Nice. Well, we're fired up. Obviously, football is king down here in the South, really around across the country. We can't wait to watch the Saints play. I am Mr. Optimistic, but I am overly optimistic as to how the Saints are going to be this year. I think Derek Carr is going to take a step forward with the new offensive coordinators and the new system that they've got going on. So appreciate your time. Obviously, Olympics are going on right now. You got this. I don't know if you got the chef. Maybe you wanted to go out to Irvine, California, because I know your teammates out there in Paris living it up right now, the city of love. He's just doing his things out there. You know, he's the guy, you know?
Yeah, Fletcher got Paris, I got Irvine.
Oh, wow, yeah, tough ticket. Yeah, tough ticket.
Yeah, I think he's having FOMO. That's the crazy part. He's having FOMO while he's in Paris, and we're in Irvine watching practice at UC Irvine's field. I'm like, I'd much rather be in the city of light, not Irvine. But
Yeah.
you know, I'm more of a football person. I don't really know much about Olympics other than like watching basketball, and the person who runs the fastest is going to win, and swim the fastest. So,
I don't know, dude. The rugby stuff's pretty wild. Like, you watch those guys, like, you'd imagine some of those guys.
Today.
Yeah. Some of those guys could play in the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw somebody texted me. Somebody from Fiji should be playing fullback for the Saints or running back for the Saints. So it doesn't work out well because the timing of practice and the live events are happening at the same time on the West Coast. So the days off. Yesterday, I had a chance to watch Kevin Durant LeBron cook. You know, but
There you go.
other than that, it's kind of hard to watch some of these events on the West Coast unless it's like midnight Pacific time.
Right.
Where they're in Paris starting, but. You know, it's on NBC, so Fletcher got to go. He's been waiting to go forever. I mean, he's been at WDSU since 2000.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I'm not asking. I mean, I might ask for the LA trip.
You gotta put the
Yeah,
request in
maybe
now.
maybe the next time. We'll
there
see.
you go.
We'll see what happens. Sharief, dude, we appreciate you.
Baseball comes back.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, the next Olympics, baseball comes back, right? I believe. Doesn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. Obviously, you know, I'll be way out of my prime, and I'm out of my prime right now, so there's no chance I can go open tryouts that won't happen. But, dude, Sharief, we appreciate you, as always, coming on the show, being available for us. We'll have you on again here soon, talking more Saints as training camp and the season starts to get closer and closer. Enjoy that beautiful weather for the next couple weeks before you come back to the humidity and the hurricanes.
Yeah, look, man, I'm only here until Monday, and then I have to come back to what you guys are dealing with. But you guys are all legends in a different way, especially Lloyd's mustache.
Even Lloyd's in legendary status. Appreciate you, dude. Enjoy your time there.
All right, guys.
Later.
See you, brother.
All right, guys.
Bring Michael Thomas back with you.
Oh, that's how you're gonna leave it? Jesus. Don't even answer that. Bye, Lloyd.
No.
Bye, Sharief.
Bye.
You're an idiot. I knew you couldn't.
They need a
resist.
playmaker.
You're out of control.
Unsigned.
Yeah, he's not doing anything.
Unsigned.
Do you think that has more to do with Michael Thomas not the actual player, like the production side, or has more to do with Michael Thomas, the extracurricular, if you will?
I think it has a little bit to do with both. I think it has the extracurricular
both. But
and the injury.
Which one's more? I'm saying.
I think the injury.
You
I think it has to do with the injury. Michael Thomas not being himself, injured. been injured the last 3
CJGJ did
years.
something to him.
Huh?
CJGJ did something to him.
You think?
Are you
He
gonna
has
answer
never
the
been the
question
same
or no?
since. Oh, I think for a Saints perspective, it's just not worth the headache whenever you have a lot
I'm
of...
talking about anywhere. Unsigned anywhere, though.
I think
That's
he'll
just the
probably... He
Saints
could...
perspective.
I could see him being signed at like week 4, week 5 when somebody goes down and you need a replacement player that I'm sure he's going to stay in shape. He always has.
Yeah, no, but like answer the question. Stop running around.
Yeah,
the question.
he is.
Do you think he's unsigned right now more so because of production or more so because of the extracurricular?
Extracurriculars.
Okay.
But at some point, the other shoe drops whenever you need a number 2 or a number 1 for a team that feels like they're making a playoff push.
This is what I love about quote-unquote fake journalism. Like, I can hammer you on a question and make you answer the question.
Put my feet
Not
to
let
the
you,
fire.
You know, like in Sharief's case right now, if they ask a question and you don't get the answer and the coach or whoever just runs around it, you got to be like, oh, well.
All I can do is
I tried.
ask.
I just asked. He didn't want to answer, and I'm hammering you right now.
Yeah, I just don't. I mean, obviously the Saints need one more playmaker, and I feel like they have enough cap room if they wanted to bring him back. But I think that bridge has been burned for the Saints.
With that bridge, I just meant any bridge. There's 29.
I think he'll get
other
picked
bridges.
up. Yeah, they'll
or 30 or 31 other.
There's
bridges.
31 other bridges.
Yeah,
and
I think it's more so because of the production. Like anybody's show, whatever it is that the baggage they come with, if you will, gets dealt with if the production meets or the production output is higher than the problem output. I think he's at a point right now where the production hasn't been what people need, and obviously the other part kind of goes well with it. But I think that's where he's at right now. Yeah.
But I could also see a world where a team needs a legitimate. I mean, he still has some gas in the tank. You saw when he played for the Saints the first 4 weeks. He was good.
There's a big bag of guys where you're like, well, if we need
Antonio
he's
Brown,
one you may be looking at. I don't think he's one. He's the one you may be looking at.
No.
I think that's easy to agree with that. I'm just saying, as it comes to right now for what he brings to your team, production wise, he just hasn't really done enough of it lately, and I think that's kind of where it's at. And half of that's because of health, injury. He hasn't really been healthy either.
Right. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see who signs him if he does get signed. Yeah. I mean, look, Jarvis didn't get signed last year, right?
It's crazy.
He was one of those guys that and he doesn't really bring a lot of character issues. He's a guy that you kind of want in on your team, veteran guy. He didn't get signed last year. I know he was coming off injury as well.
He looks to be pretty healthy now, man.
Yeah.
I know he's been working a lot recently, and he's put out some footage of it, but I think the health thing kind of hit him hard. And dude, once you take it from someone who can tell you who sat out and missed a year. When you miss a year, it is hard to get back to that level of production that you're at when situations and all of these things kind of change around you.
Well, and it's also hard to get teams to look at you the same, right? Like, hey, you haven't played for a year, you've been recovering. They kind of forget about you.
You got to think about it too. So, like
guys.
when Jarvis's injury happened, the team that drafted him, the team that he had the most production with, he was no longer with. He had already moved on to the Browns, right? Move on from the Browns to a third team. At that point, when you start becoming injured, they don't see you in the same light that the Miami Dolphins saw you. They don't see you in the same light as the team that drafted you, that saw you successful at their thing, that has so much invested in you. They don't see you the same way. So when it becomes not that, it's hard to get a bite from anywhere else. And that's kind of like where that thing is for him now. I just hope someone like him, because of the kind of dude that he is, man, if he's healthy, man, I'd love to see him back on the field.
You went to this bootleg ass thing again.
Well, it's not on YouTube TV.
MLB Network is.
It's not. It said unavailable.
Why?
They
just can't. Paul Skeens is 3 innings in
and 0 runs.
Has given up no runs. Struck out Bregman for the first time.
So we were both wrong.
We were both wrong. I said he was gonna get him out, but not strike him out.
I think it was a 1-2 breaking ball, 1-2 slider.
1-2 slider up in the zone.
Swung through it.
Yeah. Lloyd, you were wrong as well. He did not bunt.
Should have.
He did not even pull his hand up on the bat. Lloyd,
I don't think a bunt. I don't think bunt.
He did pull his hand up on the bat when he walked back to the dugout.
That's why Lloyd got so like into betting the $1 thing, because he's used to putting money on shit like that where he thinks like
plus
this
650.
hits, so I really get him.
I did.
Hey, when does golf start in the Olympics? Do we know?
They're playing an event that's not Olympic related right now. But I don't know.
No, not the guys in the Olympics.
That's what I'm saying. There's an event going on that is golf, but it's not the Olympic golf.
It was at 3 a.m. last weekend.
I
didn't live because John Rahm had a little bit of a skerfuffle with the live fans because people were.
He's so upset at himself for taking that deal because he thrives on competition, and now it's not competitive at all. So he just keeps yelling into hot mics to go fuck himself, which is tough.
Tough, but. I'm interested to watch golf because that's gonna be. I think it's gonna be.
You think they put Trump on the Olympic team?
It's gonna be a little bit. It's gonna be a little Ryder Cup, ish.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because it's for your country. So I think that's gonna be a cool thing to watch.
Who's on the?
I didn't mean to change the subject.
That's
in the middle
fine.
of That, but
Scotty
What's y'all's favorite
Scotty
Olympic-
Scheffler. No Bryson DeChambeau.
right, that was the big.
Scotty, Schauffele, Morikawa, Wyndham Clark. Ugh.
What's the top American golfers like ranking wise? That's technically what it's supposed to be, I believe.
Give me Tiger over Wyndham Clark.
You can't have Tiger. I mean,
You can.
I'd love to have him there, but you're not gonna put Tiger in there. But maybe this is not like a 4-day
Bryson should
tournament.
have been on
It's not a
there.
Bryson should have been. What's y'all's favorite Olympic sport to watch?
Already the 100-meter. Give me the 100-meter dash.
You like
Yeah.
the 100? You like
Yeah,
the
I like the
100?
100 and the 400 and the 4x100.
Mm-hmm.
I like okay. So I guess what's your favorite sport?
Men's, women's, all of it. I don't.
That's
all of it.
not a
Heralded sport.
yes.
They were doing some air BB shooting that I wanted to see, but I couldn't find it. And breakdancing this year.
Did you see the
They did breakdancing?
They're doing breakdancing
breakdancing
this year.
That's an Olympic sport now.
Let's
or at least
go.
a trial Olympic sport. I think that's how they do it.
Yeah,
trial.
but it'll be on television at some
Yeah.
point. It'll be awesome.
They're like promoting it. Like they show all these Olympic commercials and it's talking about these.
Well, yeah, I'm
these
tired
guys-
of seeing the horses do it. I'm ready to see the people do it.
Did
Every
y'all-
time I put it on the Olympics, it's the horses dancing.
So the opening ceremony, it was rainy, right, for like that first couple days, and then the
Almost got lost at sea.
The biking part of that, like this, I don't know what that event is called. Coming around the corner tight, everybody just kept busting their ass and slipping on it. Not great. And then
A little
you had
brink
guy-
action?
This could have been a mistake. Then you had a guy trying to bring a replacement bike to the other guy, and he trips and slips and slams the bike down on the ground too. It was a.
I would have liked to have seen. I didn't realize it.
Even those people, like for
Handball's awesome. I think that's really cool.
like you're talking about, like the sports that are not heralded for the
Yeah.
Olympics. You know that they're still nervous as shit.
Oh, no doubt, dude.
To
It's a
them,
big-
it's like the Olympics.
I mean, this is the only time in your career.
I mean, we got
as a
the
sport-
men's canoe semifinal going on right now.
This is the only time in your career that you're gonna be like the focal point, and you're gonna be on not national TV, international TV. People are literally watching.
Bro,
you.
I mean, you got to think too. Like, there's so many levels to the Olympics. Like, there's the people that are there. I actually had this conversation with people this morning. It's the people that were there that just being there is the highlight of their life. There's people that are there that know they're gonna place, and placing is the highlight of their life. And there's people that are there that are only there for the gold, and they're not there for anything
Right.
else.
If they don't win
If
gold,
they don't
it's a
win gold, they're
failure.
pissed off. So like, there's so many realm of like what it is, but you are the top 0.% of whatever it is at what you're doing if you're in the Olympics. So that part
Look
is
at
pretty
this.
cool.
This guy's going
fucking
reverse.
wild is that?
This guy's going backwards in the slalom and the canoe slalom.
Is he? I don't know if he's doing good or bad, but
Is that
he's
a word?
having
Did you just
fun.
make that word up?
The slalom?
Yeah.
No, that's what it's called. That's what those little things are. Like you know, when you watch the Winter Games, they
Buddy
ski
is
through 'em.
scooting
Oh
through
yeah, Bodie Miller,
Yeah.
hammered.
They had archery on this morning too. That was pretty different.
Archery's pretty cool too.
Do you know how good you have to be at that? You'd be
You're
an
an
Avenger.
Olympic archer. What do you do every day?
That. If I
What
could
el-
pick
what else-
one
what
that
else
I
is another
think I
good
could
one?
make the team if I really had focused,
Fencing.
that person was just jumping in the air the whole time.
Yeah, fencing's wild.
Ping pong, table tennis.
Table tennis. I love watching table tennis.
But I
because
feel like
it's-
if you really
so
put your mind
there's
to
a little
it,
controversy with our guy from the U.S. Khan.
yeah, he wouldn't take a drug test.
Yeah, 3 days in a row he didn't take a drug test, but he's in there.
He's still playing
He's
and
still
winning.
playing. Dominating.
And then there's a 50-year-old for the Japanese team or Chinese Taipei. I'm not sure which one, but she's like running laps around the younger individuals.
50?
Yeah.
There's like a 16 or 17-year-old too, right?
Yeah, that's the next up.
Wow.
I would
See, that's-
watch. Would you try to like if you played an older person, like there's some shots that you can hit. You're like a hip. Could happen.
I don't think that happens at 50 though. I think at 50, like you're still
moving.
I mean, not like table tennis is like.
I mean, there's a lot of stop
yeah,
and go.
yeah, but like it's stop and go. I mean, you're gonna get your heart rate up, but it's not like you're like running.
I mean, there's times I've played my father where I knew like he can't get to this.
Okay,
he's
but
too old.
he's not-
and he would dive for
But
it.
he's not an Olympic athlete.
No.
He's not. Hasn't been playing table tennis for his whole life
Well,
and training for it.
no. But he has been
How
playing.
high does he throw the ball up though when he serves?
You have to. That's Olympic rule.
No, you don't have to throw it that high.
No, you got to get it. I
But
think
you have to get it
6
a certain
feet.
amount, yeah.
Yeah, but you don't have, like he throws it up normally high. which they say because the guy makes the opponent like have to track it with his eyes, and he's not as.
I feel like a lot of people who just play like everyday table tennis, ping pong, don't know that rule.
It's cheating when they just hit out their hand.
I'm like, you realize you can't do that, right? Like,
you got to the ball up.
Then you're the asshole if you're like, dude, you can't.
You're like,
serve like that.
you just stand it because you can't return it. I'm like, no, you actually can't do that.
No, you can't do it. Can't do it.
Quick pitching me.
I'm trying to think of the other ones. I think like water polo is cool too.
I can't swim. Nor can I tread water.
The simple fact that they could tread water for that long is incredible.
They can like catch it and control it. Like it's pretty cool.
I don't know how you get to that point in your life where like, dude, I'm elite.
I wouldn't make the team simply because I can't tread water for that long.
It's big on like the West Coast, I believe.
Get ready to learn the Big Ten, buddy.
Like Stanford and like those schools, I think they're really big on in that.
They're gonna have to go
volleyball, not beach volleyball. Volleyball. Chase Budinger.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Awesome story.
Yeah.
7-year NBA vet, came from Arizona. He's like 6'10", and he
jump out the gym.
Jumps out of the gym. He is on the Olympic volleyball team, going for a gold medal. Pretty cool to watch his interaction
with LeBron,
with the NBA guys, him and Durant and LeBron, and like all those guys. Like much respect, but that's pretty awesome. So
really, think about that. Like I played in the league for 7 years. All these dudes know it. I show up to the Olympics competing in a completely different sport.
Yeah. He was like the number one.
That's crazy.
He was like the number one men's volleyball player in the country coming out of high school.
Yeah.
Like he was like a stud. He was also a stud on the basketball court.
So one pays a little bit better.
Hey, let me go back and do my other career, which if you don't know, the men's volleyball, like those guys are enormous. Like they're very, very, very tall. And
athletic
and can jump out of the gym, and it's pretty impressive. And like the velocity coming off of those guys whenever they are slamming
it's just
it
a game,
Fokker. Huh?
It's just a game, Fokker.
I mean, dude, it is unbelievable. I don't want any part of that.
Nope.
Zero part of that. All right, speaking of the Olympics, Mistake of the Day is brought to you by our friends at Dozy Place. I think you have one of there that has the Olympics.
It is Olympic related.
It's not the opening ceremonies.
Yeah, I missed it. I wish I would have seen it because it was quite the storyline. Apparently, it's the Last Supper, but not the Last Supper. Some guy's nutsack was out. That was just incredible.
Yeah, that was.
Thank you. Oh,
pretty different deal.
Yeah, it was awesome. So, but not that.
Not that. Even
Mistake of the day is the Olympic gymnastics qualifying. Explained why Jordan Chiles won't compete in the all-around final despite the fourth-place score. Jordan Chiles failed to qualify for the Childs. Well, Chile as a country.
I understand. I know you're going there, but
Jonathan Giles, number 7.
Yes. Jordan Chiles
failed to qualify for the all-around final at the 2021 Olympics. She was hoping to achieve that goal in 2024. She came up just fractions of a point short of earning that honor because her teammate Suni Lee were locked in. Yes.
Suni Lee's story is really cool.
Is she the one that double kneed? Do you remember that?
She had some sort of like sickness or disease that like they didn't know if she was ever going to be able to compete in gymnastics again, and she was able to get through it and became obviously an elite gymnast again and made it back to the Olympics. All right, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, all good. So because of what seems to be deemed a silly rule, is that because you had 2 people qualify.
Well, it did because Russia was cheating back in the day.
Yeah, the USSR. Great Netflix documentary, by the way. Doped. But there's a 2 per country rule where the 2 per country rule was initially established at the 76 Olympics to diversify the competitive pool at each summer games. Certain events and apparatuses tend to be dominated by one country, as evidenced by Russia sending 4 women to the 6-woman vault final in 1972. So because Russia was trying to cook the books, this girl can't live out her dream and be an Olympic competitor. Also, America is in the story.
She is, though, just not in the all-around.
There's not the all-around, which she feels like she could win. America did this back in the day with the soccer team, where they sent I think it was a 4-team competition. America sent 2 teams, and they got silver and bronze.
In soccer? How can you send 2 teams to the Olympics?
This is the 2 per country rule.
Yeah, but this is individual sports, basically. Right?
How do you send a whole team? They were trying to win a gold medal, and they still finished 2nd and 3rd. Because we're not great at soccer.
I didn't know you could do that.
They can't anymore.
Not anymore, but like, this is individual. It's team. I didn't know if you could send 2 teams. A team, B team, both can make it.
But that's America at the peak of their powers. We're just gonna try to. We just need to put maybe that soccer team together would have been good enough to win gold.
Maybe.
But we'll never know.
Never know. All right, great mistake of the day. Curtain call brought to you by our friends at Assured Partners.
Man.
Me. What we got, boys? You got one, boy? Or
Yes.
You go last. Okay.
Curtain call coming from Fons Ferrelli.
Hey.
Just put it in the chat.
All right.
USA men's gymnastics won bronze for the first time. That's the first medal in men's gymnastics in 16 years.
Wow.
3 medals in 20 years, and China placed silver and was absolutely distraught.
Wow.
Because somebody's, I guess you have to go to war, buddy. If you don't win gold,
Look at my guy right
that's
here.
what Korea does.
Oh, my
Look at my guy in
goodness.
the slalom.
He's exhausted.
Another mistake of the day could be the Seine River, who they spent millions and millions of dollars cleaning. And then the day the opening ceremonies happen, it starts to rain and all of this sewage
Came back.
gets in there, and they had to cancel the swimming events in the Seine River because it was of E. coli.
Oh.
Because it was a poop in the river.
That's disgusting.
Yep.
My curtain call will go to.
Would you still swim if it was
No.
for an Olympic?
Shit. My curtain call will go to today's quarterback market because my goodness, business is booming. The money's being thrown around, and I'll just give you the top 8 annually paid quarterbacks who are Lawrence,
Actually-
Burrow, Tua, Goff, Herbert, Lamar, and Hurts. Their combined playoff record of all 8 of the top annual earners is 16-17. Their combined Super Bowls are 3. Their combined Super Bowl wins, 0. So it is literally a market of paying and praying because
So
that's
when-
what you're hoping for is wins.
When is Pat Mahomes getting restructured?
It doesn't really matter, but Pat knows whenever it is I'm blowing all you out the water because I've done what you've done and more.
Yeah. You're even close to me.
So honestly, if I'm him, I'm holding out as long as I can because what I've done
It's
in
only
the
gonna keep
past,
going up.
it's only going to keep going up. And the more it keep going up, the more I can go on top of it and just cut on top of the
They
market.
can't take your Super Bowl
Or whatever it
MVPs.
is that I'm looking for.
Right. Can't take your rings away. Can't take your MVPs away.
And you can't say that he's slowing down.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's tough. It's a big market. Look, congratulations to all these guys getting paid. All extremely talented guys.
No, yeah, of
no
course.
doubt.
But
right?
my point is that I guess it hasn't always been this way, but it's pretty obvious that right now it is such a projection based re-up, if you will, when it comes to that second contract or this next contract for these quarterbacks right now, that it's crazy to see that you're literally paying all of this money and you're just hoping. But it is what it is. It is the market, and it's only going to continue to go
Go
up.
back to that list.
Saints
So
kind
you-
of look smart now.
You got Burrow. You got Goff. Who else made
Tua?
Tua. No,
Who
Jalen.
else? Huh?
Jalen.
Oh yeah, Jalen Hurts. Those are 3 Super Bowl appearances.
Tua didn't go to a Super Bowl.
I didn't say Tua. You
Oh.
said Tua.
I did. He just got paid. I thought that's where you were
I
going.
was saying who are the 3 Super Bowls, but that's it. All right.
Lamar just needs to get his intestines in line.
They've never been a playoff problem. They just haven't performed in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Man just gets sick a lot.
My
Sick enough to win 2 MVPs. It sounds like he's out there a good amount to me.
my current call.
I'd take him.
My current call is to Snoop Dogg. Snoop is just
Mr. Worldwide, the new Mr. Worldwide.
he is. Everybody loves Snoop. Doesn't matter how old you are, what age group you're in. You can be the old 65-year-old guys who just don't really you love Snoop. The younger generation loves Snoop because he's funny, he's entertaining, and he has, put himself in a position to just be Mr. Worldwide, and this is no exception. He is the Snoop highlights are my highlight of my current call of the day. And it's 3 minutes. You don't have to play all of it. You can play.
I don't think I can play any of it.
Oh, you can't?
For copyright reasons.
Ah,
I do
okay.
have it pulled up because I would love to hear it also.
If you can't, since we can't play it, go on YouTube, type in Snoop Dogg, and it's gonna give you the Snoop highlights, and it is.
I'll just give you no audio, but I will give you the visual because he's.
Can you do that?
Yeah, I'll show just look at this man. But somebody on Twitter was like, "This man is just checking off side quest. Like he literally is just out of things to do." And I'll
he's
do the
getting paid to do it?
Olympics. Him and Kevin Hart doing first of all, they did Planet Earth.
That was awesome.
Electric, and now the Olympics is kind of like the same vibe where he's like, I have no idea what's going on, but I love being here.
Yep.
Legend.
Great curtain call. Great show today, boys. If you liked what you saw, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you don't like watching us play,
Badminton.
Well, yeah, badminton's crazy too. Where to get your pods?
Deadpool 3 electric.
Deadpool 3. I can't wait to see it.
You went to the movies to see it? Right?
Somebody was dressed as
right?
Deadpool in there.
Somebody what?
Somebody just dressed up in the costume.
Why is he calling me back?
I would have left that with today's
Me too. I was
climate
nervous.
of what has gone on in movie theaters. If I walked into a movie theater and somebody was dressed as Deadpool, and I'm walking out.
No doubt.
I'm not even gonna lie to you.
I'm really looking forward to
I
watching
peed
it.
next to him. And he was sweating.
Hey, crazy. I was in Dallas this weekend. Dallas is awesome. There's so many things you can do there. We went to this area that has Tiger Woods' putt course, Pop Stroke is what it's called.
Yeah.
Line was too long.
Done a lot of that.
Line was too long to go, but they also in the same area had a. I mean, this motherfucker's called me 3 times in a row.
Don't talk about your wife like that.
It's not my wife. They had I have the batting cages. They have a cricket. Where you can have like a batting cage with cricket. I did not do it, but it was wild. These guys were smashing balls.
Did they give you a wicket?
They had this.
No,
they had the whole
you got to
deal.
bring your own.
That's what I mean. It's
They
like
had
a
the whole
triple
sport.
dicks before. Of course they have them there. What kind of question is that?
They had the whole deal.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so I don't know what brother how we get to come up to that, but it was.
We didn't.
We
You
didn't.
just took it.
I don't know why that came into my head, but that was a pretty cool thing. Please tune in on Wednesday. Got a special guest coming in from Paris.
Patty.
He is going to give us some insight as to how the Olympics are, what the vibes are there. A lot of Americans, a lot of LSU athletes there competing for America and other countries to try to bring home the gold. We will get into that and talk about that on Wednesday with him. We appreciate you. We love you. What?
Mini curtain call.
Okay.
Paul Skeens has now accrued 100 career strikeouts.
Boom. There we go.
13
Still
starts.
scoreless?
I have to check the stream.
It only took him 13 starts to get there.
Only 13.
That's incredible.
Unbelievable.
Guy got called up in May, 100 strikeouts.
Tune into the game if you want to watch the rest of it. He's throwing a gem. Obviously, he's going up against Bregman in Houston. We love y'all. We appreciate the support.
you.
We support you too. We'll be back on Wednesday. Peace.